Welcome to Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Great Monday here with my guy Chris Cherry.
What's up?
Happy birthday to our other teammate Mark. He's on the plane right now. He told me he was recording as I was texting for his picks. So he'll get on if we're still going by the time he lands. So gotta make a birthday post for him, Chris.
I will.
Dude, I wasn't that big of a fan of the football this weekend. College, there was some games that were interesting, but NFL, I didn't think there was. Despite having 3 overtime games in the NFL, I didn't. For the majority of the games, it was not exciting, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I enjoyed watching football this weekend because I didn't have to stress out in the NFL because both my teams were off. So I enjoyed a stress-free weekend of football, which, I mean, like you said, there was some good games, but for the most part, I don't think they were that great.
Well, I ended up plus 85 this weekend, so solid weekend overall. All right, let's start college football here. Friday night. The 2 games on Friday night for college were shocking, really. Number 9, Oregon at home, beating Cal by 7, coming back to beat Cal. I actually won a bet on this one. I live bet Oregon money line for a minuscule plus 110. So only just made $11, off a little $10 wager.
But still positive.
Yeah, it's something at least. But Oregon not looking good at all early, especially early in this one. They were tied at halftime. Or no, they were down. They were up 10-7 at half, tied going into the fourth 10-10. And then we're down 17-10 with 13 and a half minutes to go in the game. But yeah, I mean, they had a lot of yards. They turned it over twice, only 5 of 11 on third down. So it was a tough night. But Kayvon Thibodeau, I mean, I didn't watch the majority of this game. I turned it on near the end of the second half. But I heard that Kayvon didn't play the first half or something like that. And then he came in and played in the second half, and he just wrecked everything. Had a key back and got pressure when Cal was going. They were driving to tie it. It was almost the exact same script that Oregon had against Stanford. But this time Oregon got the stop that they needed to, and that was due in part to Kayvon Thibodeau. But yeah, running game was going well for Oregon in this one, especially in the second half. Travis Dye, Anthony Brown with his legs. Really great games for them. And Chase Garbers did a nice job of trying to keep Cal in it, but couldn't get the passes at the end there. I will say the not just Kayvon Thibodeau, but Noah Sewell also has been having a fantastic season for the Ducks. So he is a Pac-12 Player of the Year candidate on defense. Cal did cover plus 13.5 and under 54. Mountain West action, like I said, both of our games on Friday were disappointing for the ranked teams anyways. Number 24, San Diego State did stay undefeated, 6-0 in double overtime against San Jose State, 19-13. Nick Starkel didn't play for San Jose in this one. Nick Nash was not the greatest of performances, neither quarterback. This one was so boring. Like, you don't even understand. I mean, it was 6-6 going into overtime. Yeah, it was 6-3 at halftime for San Diego State. Right around the beginning of the fourth quarter, San Jose tied it. And like I said, 6-6 into overtime. And then we had some scoring. But
but you got to wonder, though. I mean, you said that Starkle didn't play for San Jose. If he played, this game might have been a completely different game. I think San Jose might have actually won the game if he played.
yeah, well, it was a completely different game than San Diego State had played all season because they were coming into this one. They were very good at running the ball, and they couldn't do anything with Greg Bell or their other backs. San Jose State, on the other hand, wasn't that great in rushing, but they were the ones that were able to run the ball. Now, I know it says 2.6 yards per carry for Tyler Nevins, but when you look at the team stats, it was 117 rushing yards for San Jose versus 70 rushing yards for San Diego State. Neither very good, but 47 more yards for San Jose State.
Yeah, and Nevins got that on his own too. He matched San Diego on his own. So
Derek Deese was a massive proponent of San Jose's game, especially in the first overtime. He had a big completion that got them into position to score their first touchdown in overtime number 1. And second overtime, then the Spartans threw a pick on their first possession, and San Diego State went down and scored a touchdown. So. Defensively, I like Michael Shawcroft for San Diego State, 8 tackles, 5 solos, sacked, 3 tackles lost, and a quarterback hurry. Oh, and it was weird too, San Diego State's offense, because Jordan Brookshire, as you can see, threw most of the attempts. But in overtime, it was Lucas Johnson that came in and had all 3 of the passing attempts through both of the touchdowns.
Okay, I was wondering why there was 2 quarterbacks there for San Diego. I didn't know if one got hurt or one got benched or what happened. But
as far as I know, again, just like the Oregon game, I kind of picked this one up in the second half. But yeah, as far as I know, it didn't. I'm pretty sure they showed Brookshire and Johnson talking on the sidelines, and Brookshire didn't look injured. So I think Johnson might have just been the better passer. Maybe. I don't know.
So then why isn't he the starter if he's the better passer?
I have no clue. But Brookshire has started every game for San Diego State. So San Jose State plus 9.5, under 41. All right, Saturday, number 3, Cincinnati killing UCF at home, 56-21. And again, the type of games that Cincinnati has to have in order to make the college football playoff, and they're doing what they got to do at this point. Desmond Ritter didn't have a great game. Didn't turn it over, though. But Jerome Ford, I mean, I wasn't watching this, but I was following along on my phone while I was watching some other games.
Yeah.
And I had the over in this one. And, dude, I mean, Jerome Ford just destroyed the UCF D-line defense overall. His 79 of his yards came on a touchdown, one of his 4 touchdown runs. All 4 of his touchdowns in the first half, by the way.
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, I'd assume they probably rested him for the most part in the second half if they were up by so much already. So
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was 35-7 at half. Biggest lead was 42-7 late in the third quarter. So.
Yeah, but Cincinnati definitely is making a strong case for their spot in the playoff.
Obviously, they are the number 3. I don't know if they moved up this week. They are now number 2. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're. Oh well, yeah. Obviously, they would be number 2 after what happened in the number 2, which we'll get to. But
Yeah, they don't have anyone. They have no one to play until they have a massive showdown coming up, second to last week of the season. But I don't think it's going to be that great of a matchup because it's in Cincinnati. I would give it more merit if it was at SMU, but it's in Cincinnati. But it is against SMU, who could also be undefeated by that time. Just looking at SMU's schedule. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They gotta go to Houston, who's 5-1. They also have to travel to Memphis, who's only 4-3, but I like
they're a
Memphis.
tough team, though. Yeah.
So, then I mean, they also got to host UCF, but as we know, UCF isn't the greatest without Dylan Gabriel. So,
Did either one of you guys, though, you or Mark, have Cincinnati in your top 6?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So Cincinnati kind of surprised us all so far. I mean, I knew they were going to be a good team, but
Maybe
I didn't think they'd be in the playoffs right now.
maybe one of us had on 5 or 6, but I don't remember. I'll have to look. Yeah, there's a lot of stats on here, a lot of touchdowns. But Kobe Bryant, once again, for the Bearcats, 74-yard pick 6 off of Mikey Keene. So,
Yeah, Cincinnati was doing it on both sides.
yeah. Cincinnati covered minus 21.5, over 56. Dude, my down button sucks. Number 10, Michigan State. Close one against Indiana, 20-15. This one was in Bloomington. Jack Tuttle actually got the start over Michael Penix and did not play well at all. Neither offense was doing great. Both defenses playing well. Peyton Thorne, though, did enough. He scored a touchdown, threw one there. Kenneth Walker had a pretty decent day, under 4 yards per carry, but still 84 yards on the ground. And the Spartans did enough, and they did enough to cover. So.
Yeah, I mean, this was an ugly game for the Spartans and for Indiana, but I'm more talking about the Spartans here because they are the ranked team. They are the undefeated team here. But I mean, a win is a win, sure, if you want to say that. But yeah, I think this is definitely their worst game of the season to this point.
Like I said, they covered. That's all I cared about.
I do find it funny though how nearly identical the quarterback stats are, because they're both 53.8%, but Jack Tuttle just did twice as much. But we talk about it all the time, but the yardage, like per completion or whatever, for Tuttle was terrible. 28 passes for 188 yards, and Thorne threw half as many passes for almost as many yards, 126 yards on 14 completions. I mean, that's I think a big reason why they won too, is the efficiency of the passing.
Yeah, Tuttle was, I believe on ESPN they do it by attempt. So 3.6 per attempt, 4.8 for Peyton Thorne. But yeah. Interesting. Tyler Hunt, he caught a touchdown, also threw a 15-yard pass to Peyton Thorne, which was a fantastic sideline catch from the quarterback. I mean, he had to reach out on the sideline and get a foot in. It was a great catch. One of the best catches I've seen from a quarterback. Defensively, this is where you get all the stats in this game. So it's tough. There's a lot of them, a lot of good ones. Micah McFadden is probably the best player that Indiana has on defense. So I'll probably go with him. 9 tackles, 4 souls, 1.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles lost, and pass selection. But could also go with the 2 other guys that are right below him for Michigan State. Yeah, Cal Halliday with a 30-yard pick 6. Jacob Hanasuk with a filling out the stat sheet there. So Michigan State covered -3.5. I don't know how I got down to 3.5. I had freaking -4.5. So I was sweating it out. And then under 49. Number 12, Oklahoma State coming back and beating number 25, Texas, 32-24. Like I texted in the group, I think it was. I don't think it was individually. I think it was in the group. I was fine with Texas losing, even though I picked them on Friday. But that was indicative of friggin' Miami beating North Carolina, which where they were in position to do. At least they were in the position to go to overtime, kind of going off track onto the Miami North Carolina game, because we didn't pick that one because both teams have more than one loss and not ranked. But yeah, I would have been okay with Oklahoma State beating Texas. I did, however, even though I lost that parlay because of Miami, I did live bet Oklahoma State when they were down, won a nice $31 off of Oklahoma State. So
Nice.
but yeah, Texas now back-to-back losses to Oklahoma teams. And Mark's cousin, dude. Mark's cousin, Jalen Warren, man. I mean, he ran all over the Longhorn defense.
Mhm. Yeah, that's an insane stat line right there. 33 carries is a huge workload for 193 yards. It's a great amount of yards too. The only thing I guess he couldn't do was find the end zone there. And I also find it funny on the stat sheet there, it has 2 catches next to his name, but 0 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was really a running back showcase because Bijan Robinson, while he didn't have the yards or carries that Jalen Warren did, he still had a really good day.
I mean, he had a better average.
Yeah. 100,
And he had a touchdown.
173 total yards from scrimmage, 3 total touchdowns. And again, it's going to be tough. People keep saying that he's going to get to New York, but with Texas at 4-3 now out of the top 25, I don't know. Because it always seems that team success comes into the equation when you are looking at Heisman finalists, especially when you're looking at a non-quarterback.
Yeah. It's the same thing for MVP of any other sport too. MVP normally takes into consideration the team success. So, like you said, same goes for the Heisman. That's why I feel like Spencer Rattler, I mean, he's not having a great season, but they're winning. So I still think he's in consideration for it. Just saying.
Not that he's not the starter anymore, no.
Well, we'll see.
JT Daniels is out now because of missing 4 games. So tough. Let's put Bailey Zappi in the conversation. Why not? Western Kentucky's 2-5, I think. Or something like that. I think Tanner Mordecai and Kenny Pickett. We'll get to Kenny Pickett, but Tanner Mordecai for SMU, Kenny Pickett for Pitt. I think both those guys very underrated, especially when you look at their stats right now. I think that especially Kenny Pickett, I think should be in the conversation. But yeah, back to this game. Really the running backs were really the talking point, I think. And the comeback from Oklahoma State was great as well. They were down 24-13 with 11:45 to go in the third quarter. So, yeah, 11 points. And then won it with they scored 19 unanswered.
That's what those good teams do.
And it really started off the momentum that got Oklahoma State going was because they were down 17-3, 8.5 to go in the second quarter. That was their big deficit. And then Jason Taylor goes 85 yards the other way, picks 6 off Casey Thompson. That was what started it, because then they got to a 17-13 halftime score. And then, yeah, Bijan came out and scored 38-yard touchdown. Then the rest was Oklahoma State. But 2 weeks in a row, though, Texas has lost a double-digit lead. So, got to finish games, Steve. Oklahoma State plus 3.5, under 61.
I'm trying to look it up, but I can't find it. If Jason Taylor II has any relation to the Dolphins legend Jason Taylor, but I can't see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I highly doubt it too. I think Jason Taylor might be a little bit too young for his kid to be in college at this point. Possibly. I don't know. I don't even know if he has kids. Upsets in Fayetteville, Auburn, rolling over number 17, Arkansas, 38-23. Bo Nix has put on a show. I mean, he has really settled down. You know, the comeback against LSU 3 weeks ago, and then obviously struggled against Georgia, but was able to move the ball a little bit, and they got 10 points out of Georgia. So, but yeah, this one is a really good game on the road. And Arkansas didn't have enough after scoring 51 points. Now they only get to score 23 against Auburn. So,
yeah, this one, I think this was one of the biggest surprises of the weekend, at least for me. But yeah, Auburn's looking good though. They're kind of a sneaky 5-2 team. I can't think of who they've played of significance off the top of my head, but I know they've been on our slate a couple times. So they're obviously playing some decent competition.
8-point loss to Penn State, and then a 24-point loss to Georgia. Those were their 2 losses.
And I mean, the Georgia one is understandable.
Otherwise, Arkansas is the best team that they played, unless you want to put LSU over Arkansas, but I would not do that.
No.
Especially with what happened. Which we'll talk about that next, actually. Well, not what happened, but we'll talk about LSU next. Traylon Burks for Arkansas, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, he's been money for them all season. Zacoby McClain, dude, this guy is a tackling machine for Auburn. Starting middle linebacker, definitely going to play in the NFL. And like I said, he just hits everything. 15 tackles, 9 souls, half tackle loss, 2 pass selections. He also had a strip sack in the end zone that was recovered by Marcus Harris for a quick 6 points for the Tiger defense. And Colby Wooden also put together 2 sacks for the Tiger defense. So that was really, I think, the big thing was The offense was clicking very, very well for Bo Nix, and then the defense having their way with the Arkansas offensive line.
Mhm.
Auburn +4 over 55. Other upset, another SEC upset. LSU 49-42 over number 20 Florida. This one was in Death Valley, so at LSU. But a barn burner that I didn't see coming.
Nope.
And it was Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson throwing the ball, equal attempts. Jones completing 2 more, but Richardson threw 2 more touchdowns. He also overall scored 3 more touchdowns than Emory Jones did, but they combined for 4 interceptions, which gave LSU more opportunities, and they took advantage of them for the most part. Max Johnson didn't have to do anything because Tyrion Davis-Price set the LSU single game rushing record. He broke Leonard Fournette's record. Just ridiculous day. I mean, 36 for 287, 3 touchdowns.
That's insane right there.
Yeah, he scored touchdowns of 18, 40, and 25.
So they weren't even like super long touchdowns either. So,
but he was gashing them every single drive. Just curious to see. His longest run was his 40-yard touchdown. Pretty.
So that's a really good day then to me, because I mean, we always see, or we normally see, when a running back has like even under 200 yards, even like 150 yards or something, it's usually they have like one like 70+ yard run or something like that inflates their stats. But this, like you said, the 40-yard touchdown was his longest run of the day, which is insane.
Yeah, Florida had no rushing game at all. As you can see, Anthony Richardson was the leading rusher for Florida, 37 yards and touchdown. But we already kind of knew that. I mean, Florida hasn't been able to run the ball. Again, I don't think they have a true in between the tackles running back. I think Naquan Wright and Damian Pierce are both kind of scat back kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a running back, Anthony Richardson is probably your dude. Actually, Emory Jones is bigger. Anthony Richardson has a better arm though, and is better at throwing the ball. Regardless of the completion percentage, as you can see, the 3 touchdowns to 1, and a better QBR. Granted, we don't like QBR here.
Yeah, it's very deceiving, but.
Justin Shorter for Florida, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. Jerry Jenkins for LSU, he caught all 3 of Max Johnson's touchdown passes. And Jacob Copeland, he had a big 33-yard touchdown from Anthony Richardson to tie the game at 42. LSU went down subsequently and won the game with Jerry Jenkins' 1-yard touchdown pass from Max Johnson, 3.5 to go in the game. BJ Ojulari for LSU, fantastic day. Sack, 2 tackle loss, pass flex, and QB hurry. And Dwight McLaughlin, also 37-yard pick 6, which probably was the deciding score, really, when you think about it, because that took away a possession from Florida and put points on the board. It was a Florida possession that ended in points for LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even if he didn't go all the way for a touchdown, it was still in field goal range. So that was probably a turning point no matter if he scored or not.
Yeah, and that happened on the first possession of the third quarter. made it 28-13 LSU. Yeah, the second and fourth quarters were just ridiculous. It was just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. 21-13 at halftime. And Florida really came back. They were down 21-6 with about 7 minutes to go. And they ended the half on a Hail Mary from Anthony Richardson or from Emory Jones to Justin Shorter. 42 yards. Hail Mary. So LSU plus 12.5, over 61 easily. Number 21, Texas A&M beating up on Mizzou, 35-14. Kind of performance you wanted to see from A&M coming out of the upset over Alabama. They continued to have success. Zach Calzada did throw 2 interceptions, but they ran the hell out of the ball with Isaiah Spiller and Devin Achane. 292 total yards, 3 touchdowns off 36 attempts.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid day. I mean, we saw it in the last game or 2 games, however many games ago. The one guy had this pretty much that stat line on his own, but regardless, that's still a good day from the running back core of A&M.
It's mine.
Yep.
Mike is unstable. So, yeah. Anaya Smith, once again, 2 touchdowns. And a lot of similar defensive stats. I'm going to go with Aaron Hansford, 7 tackles, all of them solos, 2 tackles lost, pass selection.
Like it.
A&M covered, minus 11.5, under 60. Number 1, Georgia, go damn dogs. 30-13 win over number 11 Kentucky. College game day was in the house. Great game once again. I mean, dude, there is not a defense that's even close to what Georgia is doing right now.
Nope.
I was really mad, though, and a lot of people were, that Kentucky got a touchdown at the end. I would have loved to have only a 7 up there instead of 13. But it was fine because they blocked the extra point. That was their second block of the day. They blocked a field goal earlier. As you can see, Devontae Wyatt was the one that blocked that field goal. Jordan Davis was the one that blocked the extra point. But yeah, I mean, Stetson, once again, efficient, 250, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers at all. Zamir White and James Cook both scoring. And Brock Bowers, I mean, he is by far. I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched enough probably of all the other SEC schools. But I don't think there's any question that Brock Bowers is the SEC Freshman of the Year.
He's been definitely up there so far this season. But obviously you're a Georgia fan, so you pay a lot more attention to them than the average fan or whatever. But is this JT Daniels' job still? Or
I think it is, and that's seems to be the consensus, is that JT is still the starter, because as great as Stetson has been, he is going to run into problems when they play in Alabama in the SEC championship game, because of what Alabama can do and what they did to Stetson last year was get their hands up. Because he's only 5'10", it leads to a lot of pass breakups and knockdowns. I think Todd Monken has done a great job of game planning around Stetson's height, where it's a lot of quick throws and a lot of outside screens where you're not necessarily throwing over the line a lot, which I think has been a pretty decent revelation for them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean JT's 6'3", I believe, something like that. And we already know, like, JT has a better arm, and I think JT also can read defenses better than Stetson can. And they really haven't played. Kentucky, I think, was definitely the best. Or no, Clemson was the best defense they played, probably. Kentucky was probably a close second. They've been winning on defense for the majority of the season. But, they're going to get a test. Probably not until the SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a defense on the schedule that would give them issues, whether it's JT or Stetson. Florida, they just gave up 49 to LSU. But it is the Georgia-Florida game. You never know what's going to go on in those rivalry games. So, but other than that, Missouri, Tennessee, Charleston Southern, and Georgia Tech, which again, Georgia Tech's rivalry game. So, and it's in Atlanta. So, I still don't see an issue with any of those games coming up. And I believe with the Florida game coming up, Georgia's on a bye this week. I think that will give JT enough time to be able to play against Florida. So, and we saw last year they needed him. Stetson played terrible in the Florida game last year. I was there. It was not good. But that was also against Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts for Florida's offense. So,
and I think that this Georgia defense is much improved too.
Yes. Crazy stat. Wan'Dale Robinson, 12 receptions, only 39 yards and a touchdown. But yeah,
That's hard to do.
Jalen Carter is a beast. He is Jordan Davis light. Jordan Davis, 99. Jalen Carter's 88. 6 tackles, 3 souls, sack, 2.5 tackles lost, and a pass deflection. But those two combined with Devontae Wyatt on special teams, I don't know how people ever get kicks off against them because, like I said, they blocked a field goal and extra point in this one. Kentucky covered because of the late touchdown. That's why they covered. Plus 21.5 and under 45. Just barely. The upset of the weekend. Number 24-7. Purdue over number 2 Iowa in Iowa City at Kinnick Stadium. Aiden O'Connell put on a show. 375, 3 touchdowns. Also got a quarterback sneak in there off 75%. The defense was outstanding for the Boilermakers, forcing Peterson to 4 picks. They, I guess you could say, handling Tyler Goodson on the ground. I mean, he still ran for 5.7 per, but when they got Iowa down, forced Peters to throw.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They limited his usage by being up and forcing them to throw the ball.
And what a performance from David Bell. 11 receptions, 240 yards, and a touchdown. And yeah, Purdue has now beaten back-to-back. They've beaten number 2 teams beating number 2 Ohio State in 2018. I remember that game fondly as well on a Friday night at Purdue in a blackout, I believe it was, for the Boilermakers. Rondale Moore went wild in that one. This one, David Bell went wild in a day game. I was very happy. Obviously, it's a loss for us, but perfectly fine with it. I hate Iowa because they beat Penn State. So,
hey, and this opens up the door for some other teams to slide down the rankings too. So, or up the rankings, however you want to say it.
yeah. Unfortunately, Iowa's a Western Division team in the Big Ten, so it doesn't matter as much to Penn State. But it does matter for all those other teams in the West, because now Iowa has a conference loss, and they are now tied with a couple other teams. I believe Minnesota is one of them. And Purdue, actually, I believe, is another one. Yeah. Minnesota and Purdue, both 2-1 in conference play. And now Purdue has a leg up because of the head-to-head win over Iowa. Iowa's still leading the West by a half a game because they're 3-1 in conference play. But Minnesota and Purdue are now in the race. I mean, technically, you could still consider Northwestern and Wisconsin in the race as well. Both of those are only 1-2 in conference. So I'm not saying that anyone other than Iowa is going to win the West, but I'm just saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
With Purdue being ranked now, and the craziest thing is that Minnesota has a head-to-head win over Purdue. But Iowa has not played Minnesota yet. And of course, it's in Iowa City, the game against Minnesota. Of course it is. But Purdue went in and beat them. Please, PJ Fleck, go in and beat Iowa at Kinnick Stadium. Defensively, Cam Allen had 2 picks for the Boilermakers. Jack Campbell was a tackling machine again for Iowa, but I am rolling with Branson Dean. 5 tackles, 1.5 tackles lost, 1.5 sacks, quarterback hurry. George Karlaftis had 3 quarterback hits. He is really the guy that I think about when I think of Purdue, especially defensively.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he is probably one of the bigger names, but he had the I want to say the worst stat line out of all those guys on the list, though. I think Kydron Jenkins had probably one of the better on the Purdue defensive line there. 4 solo tackles, 6 overall, a sack, and 2.5 for loss, and 1 QB hurry.
Yeah, well, it's tough when you're the best player on defense and they're double teaming you every play. Especially against Iowa's offensive line that's usually pretty stout. Purdue plus 11, under 43. And like I said, freaking Miami screwing me over. You know, I had the parlay was Miami money line, Oklahoma State money line, and Purdue money line. Would have won me a nice little. It would have been $5. $5 bet would have won me 198.
Nice. Too bad it didn't happen.
Like I've been telling people, I am the king of losing parlays by 1 leg. I'm the greatest. I'm the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. Greatest to ever do it. All right, let's go to the ACC here. Yeah, this was the other parlay that I had, the bigger one. I think it was 7 legs. And this was my other one that I lost because I was stupid and went with Virginia Tech plus 5, thinking that Blacksburg would help me out,
Mm.
and the atmosphere
Mhm.
would allow Virginia Tech to cover. And Kenny Pickett said, hell no. Continued his torrid season.
Mhm.
I mean, it wasn't, he didn't light it up necessarily in this game. He did score 3 total touchdowns, though, and they ran the ball well with Israel Abanikanda.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but this I think was one of the most disappointing games to me for at least the college set of games we got, because I thought this was going to be a lot more competitive of a game. Like you said, it was in Virginia. It was yeah, the it was
I don't know. It was not the way that Virginia Tech's been playing. I feel like all season. I feel like they've been a lot more competitive in their other 5 games this year. But yeah, Purdue. You said already. Kenny Pickett is just building his case even more for a potential Heisman run. So
Yeah, and Tech's touchdown didn't come until 6.5 to go in the third quarter. 28-0.
yeah, so that was essentially a garbage time touchdown, even though it was in the third quarter.
Yeah, and the team stats were terrible. I mean, they only turned it over one time. But 4 of 14 on third down, 0 for 2 on fourth down, only 13 total first downs, 224 total yards. The rushing stats were very far apart. 208 rushing yards for Pitt, 90 for Virginia Tech. So, yeah, that was terrible from the Hokies. 21-45 to 38-15 time of possession in favor of Pitt. Pitt actually led the game in penalties, 9 for 73 yards, but it didn't matter.
Mm.
It's really the Pitt defense. I said this all along when we've had Pitt games. Pat Narduzzi knows how to coach defense, and coached a really good one in this one. As you can see, a lot of Pitt defenders on here had many great games. I don't really know who to go with. I'm probably going to go with Cam Bright. 5 tackles, 3 souls, sack, tackle, floss, QB, hurry.
Oh yeah.
Habakkuk Baldonado also having a pretty good game.
great name too.
Pitt covered -6, under 56. Fresno State shutting out Wyoming, 17-0. This one was at Wyoming.
No.
Seth Chambers, terrible day. 4 total turnovers. Levi Williams wasn't much better. wasn't better at all, actually. He turned it over well. Jake Hayner actually had a terrible day. Besides throwing for 2 touchdowns, only 96 yards. That's not even close to what we had been seeing from Hayner. But they got enough on the ground with Jordan Mims, which I was surprised he was the leading rusher because Ronnie Rivers is the number 1 back as far as I know. Which he did. I mean, he ran the ball 21 times for 73 yards. So close, but 8 more carries there. And yeah, ugly game.
Mm-hmm.
Fresno State's defense got the job done though.
Yeah, this this was a very ugly game. I unfortunately tried lone wolfing Wyoming. You even called me out on it on Friday saying, why would you do that? But I learned my lesson now not to do that again. But yeah, it was an ugly game on offense on both sides, but the defense for Fresno State was just too good for Wyoming.
Yeah, you don't bet against Jake Hayner.
Even though it wasn't necessarily him that won the game.
Yeah. Team stats, yeah, very, very similar. I think it was literally the turnovers. That looks like the only disparity on the team stats there. Other than maybe the little bit of difference between the passing and rushing yards. But yeah, 5 total turnovers for Wyoming. The big difference here. Defensively, I'm going to go with Evan Williams. 7 tackles, 4 souls, half tackle for loss, and 2 picks.
Yeah, he was definitely the best Fresno defensive player.
Fresno State, -3 covered, under 54. Way under. Baylor beaten number 19, BYU 38-24. This one was in Texas. And Jared Hall only turned it over once in this game, as opposed to I believe it was 3 times last game. Did throw for over 300 yards, but it was the Baylor running game from Abram Smith really having an impact. 27 for 188 and 3 touchdowns.
This game helped me make up for the Wyoming mistake because I believe I lone wolf Baylor, didn't I? Or
yes,
yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, that helped me make up for the Wyoming game. But yeah, Baylor's just been on its hair this year so far. I mean, I don't know if they're ranked this week or not. I haven't looked at the list, but
yeah, number 20.
Okay, yeah, they did finally crack the list.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's well deserved. They've had a great season up to this point, and I think this might be their best opponent to this point, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, I mean, they beat Iowa State. That was their highest ranked opponent that they beat, but their losses, or their loss was to Oklahoma State, who is the highest ranked team now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this game though, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, you already said Hall had a pretty good game except for the 1 fumble. But fumbles aren't always necessarily the ball holders or the ball carrier's fault. I don't know. I didn't see the play, but like could have been a blindside sack or something. And he didn't see it coming. I don't know.
Yeah. I was disappointed by Tyler Algier. Back-to-back, not good games for him. Had the fumbling issue against Boise State last week. Now he only runs for 33 yards on 15 carries. Did score, but it was the passing game that did all the offense for BYU. Puka Nacua had a nice game, 5 for 168 and a touchdown. And Baylor is in the thick of the Big 12 race. Lost to Oklahoma State hurts them, but they do have a shot if they can beat Oklahoma, who is coming up in 3 weeks. They have Texas and TCU before they play Oklahoma. Luckily for them, they get Oklahoma at home, as long as it's not a neutral site game. It is not. It is Baylor at home in Waco. Right now, they have Oklahoma 71.3% to win that one. So I don't think they are going to get into the Big 12 championship, not the way that Oklahoma or Oklahoma State is playing, but there is a chance. Technically, Iowa State's in the conversation as well, too. They only have 1 conference loss as well.
No.
Defensively, what a day for Dylan Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
Played both ways, 4 tackles, 3 souls, sack and attack, 1.5 tackles lost. Also ran one in from 2 yards on offense and caught one for 2-yard touchdown as well.
Is he normally a 2-way player?
I have no clue. I've never heard of him before this game.
That's what I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, he did it all. And I mean, he's obviously a big reason why they won. He scored 12 points, I guess, technically. But he scored 2 touchdowns, and that was the difference in the game right there. 14-point game.
Jalen Petrie also has been outstanding for the Bears defense all season, and he is getting NFL hype as well. Baylor minus 5.5 covered, over 53. UTSA shutting out, blowing out Rice, 45-0. This one was at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And Sincere McCormick had a nice day. Frank Harris, decent, 3 touchdowns, though. And Rice had nothing on offense.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably the easiest game of the week to pick because UTSA has such a high-powered offense led by Mr. McCormick there.
2 pick sixes, though, on defense.
Well, yeah, I was going to say their defense held up, too. I mean, it was only against Rice, but still.
But one of the quarterbacks you see there for Rice, Luke McCaffrey, former quarterback at Nebraska. So definitely not having the success in college that his brother had.
I was going to say maybe he should have stayed and stay where he was because 5 for 10 for 15 yards and an interception, that's really bad.
Yeah. I'm surprised Rice even has 2 wins. They were against Southern Miss and Texas Southern. So there you go. Quintez Cephas's brother, he scored twice again. Good day for him. And like I said, 2 pick sixes there. Corey Mayfield Jr., 49 yards to the house, also chipped in 2 pass deflections. And then Trevor Harmonson, 40 yards to the house, sack, tackle for loss added on there. UTSA easy cover, minus 17. And under 53, Rice just could not help the overbetters.
Of course not.
Just needed 1 score. That's all you needed. Well, 1 score and 2-point conversion to push it. Number 5, Alabama. I don't know. What adjective are we using for this one, Chris? I keep using the same ones over and over again.
Well, this is I mean, can't even really call it a massacre because it wasn't a massacre. 49-9. I mean, yeah, it is a 40-point victory, but still.
I told y'all. I told y'all this is exactly what was going to happen. I knew Alabama was going to be pissed off coming out, and they let it out on Mike Leach, Will Rogers, and Mississippi State. The sad thing is Will Rogers threw for 300 yards, but he threw 3 picks to the Alabama defense, one of which got returned for a touchdown from Jordan Battle, 69 yards. And the Mississippi State offensive line had no answers for anyone on Alabama, especially Will Anderson.
And, well, I mean, it seems as that this is the case, but was the Mississippi State points all field goals?
Yeah.
That's what I figured. I was going to say, I didn't see any touchdowns on the board there. But yeah, this is a typical Alabama game. Like you said, getting back to how they were prior to the A&M game last week.
And I mean, we both kind of called it on Friday that they were going to come out pissed off and ready to play.
This one was in Starkville too.
Yeah, if it was, yeah, I mean, I don't think that really mattered. I think it would have been a massacre either way, but
yeah. John Mechie, haven't had him on here, I feel like, in a while. It's been Jamison Williams a lot for their offense, but yeah, John Mechie coming back and having a 7 for 117 touchdown. Robinson, not the average you want, but did score three times.
Mhm.
And like I said, no answers for the Alabama defense, rushing the passer with Will Rogers and Will Anderson Jr. I mean, he had the most outstanding day. 4 sacks, 4 sacks plus, and a pass selection. Jordan Battle was very close, though. I mentioned the pick 6, but he also had another pick as well and a pass deflection.
Mhm.
And Bryce Young continues his Heisman candidacy. No
Yeah.
turnovers, 348, 4 touchdowns, 71.4%.
I'll give a little shout out to Mississippi State there, though, too, with the linebacker Nathaniel Watson. He actually got to the quarterback. He got a sack there, so at least they did one thing somewhat right.
16 total tackles for Mr.
That-
Watson.
That too, yeah.
I just want to see the totals here. Yeah, they sacked Will Rogers 7 times, 9 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hurries there. Bama minus 17.5 covered under 60. Needed one more field goal from Mississippi State. This is a shocker. You know, we had Purdue beat Iowa in Iowa. This one was at UL Monroe, but I think this is the biggest shock of the season.
Yeah.
UL Monroe beating Liberty 31-28. UL Monroe was plus 3,000 money line in this game. And it was just Malik Willis having a terrible day. 135 through the air, 3 picks. I mean, he scored 3 times and ran for 157 yards, but you can't throw 3 interceptions and expect to win, even against a far inferior opponent like UL Monroe.
Yeah, no, this was another one on the list that when I saw the score of this game, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this was I'm pretty sure that we both said on Friday that this was like the most guaranteed victory on our slate. Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the biggest spread of the week for us, the 32.5.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, that was, I mean, like you said, it all kind of falls back to the quarterback play.
I mean, it was a terrible start to the game on both sides. Liberty went down 14 plays, 48 yards, over 7 minutes on the first drive of the game. Turn it over on downs at the UL Monroe 32. So, you know, fringe field goal range for college, 32-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
What does UL Monroe do? They go 14 plays, 58 yards, almost 4.5 minutes. They miss a field goal at the Liberty 10-yard line. This, I have no idea how. Oh, no, they got it blocked. And then they returned it. It looks like they returned it down to the UL Monroe 2-yard line. Liberty turns it over on downs at the 1. UL Monroe punts. Liberty goes 15 plays, 74 yards, 7 minutes off the clock once again. Get down to the UL Monroe 16-yard line. Malik Willis is picked off. And then 2 plays later, UL Monroe gets picked off, and then they finally started scoring. It was 14-0 Liberty at the end of the first quarter. UL Monroe had a hell of a, or at the end of this, at halftime, it was 14-0. UL Monroe had a hell of a third quarter, 28 unanswered points to go up by 2 touchdowns. And then Liberty came back in the fourth, 14 unanswered, and scored and tied it up. UL Monroe kicked the game-winning field goal, 1:44 to go in the game. But yeah, I mean, it was terrible. Terrible. And what ended the game essentially was Malik Willis's third pick on their last drive. Got sacked on first down, 2nd and 16. He's picked off to end the game. So, yeah. Career long 53-yarder was the game-winning field goal as well from Caleb Sutherland.
Wait, is the college field goal the same as the NFL field goal, like the plus 17 yards or whatever from the spot?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I think they might do 18, but I don't know. The difference is in college the hash marks are wider, so it's a harder angle to kick it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, defensively, I'm gonna go with Rashad Harding for Liberty. Actually, I mean, 15 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles lost. QB Hurry. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I was looking at the down the list too, and yeah, it looks like Liberty actually had the better defensive game, despite obviously the 3 interceptions by UL Monroe. But both of those guys for Liberty, though, Harding and Elijah James, both getting double-digit tackles, and over, or one had 1.5 sacks, and the other one 2.5. So they were getting to the quarterback and getting tackles, but I guess, I mean, yeah, we already mentioned it a bunch of times, but the turnovers were the difference.
Zach Woodard also having a great game. I forget what UL Monroe's mascot is, but something Hawks, some kind of hawk, I think.
Yeah.
And Story Jackson once again with double-digit tackles. Like I said, he is on my board this year. UL Monroe, yeah, plus 32.5 over 57. That was because of the game-winning field goal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 4, Oklahoma. What a debut for Caleb Williams. First collegiate start, the freshman. What does he do? Beats TCU 52-31. 295, 4 touchdowns, 5 overall. 363 total yards on offense. Kennedy Brooks, outstanding game again. And Max Duggan, I mean, that's the sad thing. Max Duggan, I mean, you take those stats all day for a quarterback, and you still lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Max Duggan has had a great season so far, despite them being 3-3. But it doesn't seem to be the offense's fault for TCU why they're 3-3. Seems like the defense hasn't really been that great for TCU. So, I mean, against the high-powered offense like Oklahoma, this is the kind of game that's going to happen in this. It's going to, well, can't even really call it a shootout because Oklahoma still won by 19 points. Or no, 21 points, sorry. But, yeah. I mean, we already mentioned Williams, great debut for him. But again, if you're on an offense like Oklahoma, yes, it starts with the quarterback, but still, he has a lot of great pieces around him.
Yeah, crazy that we had 2 guys with 3 receiving touchdowns in the game. Quentin Johnson had 185 yards off 7 receptions and scored 3 times for TCU. Jaden Hazelwood as well, scoring on half of his receptions, 6 for 56 and 3 touchdowns. Defensively, I'm going with Ochuan Mathis for TCU, the Horned Frogs, 7 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. And OU covered minus 12.5 over 65. I knew that one was hitting.
Yeah.
I had the over 64. I think I got it at. But again, didn't matter.
Still
Tech
blew that
couldn't
out of the
cover.
water. 83 points.
Virginia Tech couldn't cover. It's fine. I'm not salty at all. Number 13, Ole Miss beating Tennessee 31-26 at Rocky Top. This one was weird. I mean, I watched the entire game. And I'll start off. Do we want to start off at the end of the game? I guess.
Yeah.
I know I posted a picture with a description on my Snapchat, and I thought I was correct, even being a biased Georgia fan. I mean, it was despicable what the Tennessee fans were doing. They were throwing a tantrum because they got called short on a 4th and 16 or something like that. That the guy, you didn't have an angle, a camera angle that showed definitively whether the ball was short or not. Which I was just astounded by. First thing, because I don't understand how you couldn't have an angle from the other sideline with the camera. You only had the one sideline angle. Because if you had the other side of the field, you could have seen the ball because that's the side of the player the ball's on. But you couldn't see the ball. So, and then they start throwing stuff onto the field at Ole Miss players, coaches, staff, everyone. You know, there was beer, full water bottles being thrown. The two biggest things that got attention were a full bottle of mustard. And Lane Kiffin got hit by a golf ball.
Oh God.
Luckily it wasn't his head that got hit, it was like his arm.
I was gonna say, if he actually got hit in the head by a golf ball, that could actually hurt. But and the actions of the fans really cost the school too. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it more in depth in the news section, but yeah, this was a terrible thing for Tennessee. But yeah, even on the field though, I mean, Ole Miss just outplayed Tennessee, I think.
And that was the thing that was, like the announcers kept saying, they didn't understand why the fans kept doing it because Tennessee was in the game still. They had 3 timeouts and they could have still gotten the ball back. Down 1 score. It made no sense.
Yeah. But all right, hold on. I'm going to be right back.
Yeah, they had to clear the stands, clear the student section out for the majority of the student section. The cheerleaders left the field because they were getting hit by stuff. The Tennessee band vacated the stands because they were getting hit by stuff coming from behind them. You know, it was just a terrible scene in Tennessee. And if Mark lands from his flight and wants to talk about it, we'll let him talk about it. But because he's our resident college athletic director. But yeah, tough scene, very tough scene. Ole Miss got it done, and you know they were even at the end. Lane Kiffin was going to the tunnel, and someone threw a full water bottle at him as well. Lane being Lane, he caught the water bottle. And then even threw his visor up into the stands for the Tennessee fans. So it was his return, being that he coached Tennessee previously. And yeah. But Matt Corral, you know, maybe not a Heisman passing day, but I mean, he had 426 total yards. 2 passing touchdowns and a pick. Hendon Hooker got hurt eventually, couldn't finish the game. Joe Milton came in on the final drive for Tennessee And the funniest thing I thought was that he didn't throw the ball in the last play of the game. he started running and then he ran out of bounds. He didn't even attempt to get the ball into the end zone. And they were only at like the 21 or something like that. It's very manageable just to throw the ball into the end zone just to try to win. But yeah.
That's what happens when the backup is unprepared and especially in a situation like that when they could have won the game right there. But that again goes right back to what we were saying before about the fans' behavior. They literally had a chance to win the game. So I don't understand why Tennessee was acting the way they were.
Yeah. But yeah, Ole Miss rolls on, and Lane Kiffin's going to continue to give us great sound bites. Mark Robinson there's a bunch of great defensive performances. Mark Robinson, 14 tackles, 12 solo, great ratio, 2 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. Then you had Omari Thomas for Tennessee, 4 tackles, 3 solos, sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, and a safety. Those are the 2 that I picked out.
And I like from Tennessee too. Jeremy Banks, he had the most tackles in the game right there with 15 and 9 solo. And he still got in the backfield too. Got a sack and 2 tackles for loss and a QB hurry. So he was filling out the stat sheet too, but it wasn't enough.
Sam Williams also there. He seems to be on the Ole Miss games every week. He's probably their best defensive lineman. And Matthew Butler as well, 2 sacks for Tennessee. Ole Miss covered -1. I was on that one. Love to cash that. And I don't know why I wasn't on this, but the under 83 hit, surprisingly. Only 57 in this one. That doesn't even cover in a bunch of games. Granted, it seems like a lot of games were in the 50s this week for over under. But ACC number 22, NC State beaten up on Boston College 33-7 in Boston. Devin Leary, 251, 3 touchdowns. And Chris, you win. I just thought being in Boston and the way that Boston College had been playing, they weren't able to do what I thought they would do, which was run the ball effectively with Pat Garwo. Ended up having to throw it 39 times, which is not how they win.
No. This was one of the games I was able to watch on Saturday, and this was just an overall complete dominant performance by NC State. I mean, they did exactly what they needed to do. Like you said, they kind of stopped the run game for BC, which is their strength, and forced Grossel, however you say it, to throw the ball.
Dennis Grossell.
And and he wasn't efficient at all when throwing the ball. 21 of 39, which is 53%, 54 almost. And then under 200 yards, and he had that interception. So, yeah, NC State took care of business. I mean, they are the ranked team here, and I mean that's why I went with them. Really, it was that they were the ranked team. I wouldn't have been surprised if Boston College did end up winning this game, but yeah, NC State just did everything they needed to do and just dominated the game in all areas of the game.
Thayer Thomas for the Wolfpack, 4 for 122 and a touchdown. They also did a great job shutting down one of the best tight ends in the country, in Trey Berry. Only 2 catches for 14 yards. Did get in the end zone, though. The team stats really similar when you look at first downs and third down efficiency, but when you get to the yards, it's NC State had about 100 yards more. That included about 60 more passing yards and 70 more rushing yards. Time of possession was similar. NC State, terrible day with penalties, 9 for 85 yards. But they did get 2 turnovers, 1 pick, and a fumble recovery off of Boston College. So defensively, look at all the stats, dude. I mean, who do you go with? It was all NC State.
I mean, the one that my eyes obviously get drawn to is right there, the top guy, the linebacker for NC State, Isaiah Moore. He had the most tackles on our stat sheet here with 9, the most solos with 5. I mean, he didn't get a sack, but he did have 1 tackle for loss and 1 pass deflection and a QB hurry and the interception. So he kind of made up for not getting a sack by doing the other things.
Yeah, I'm going with Devin Boykin, his teammate, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass deflections, and a 34-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Vi Jones also very good day. NC State covered -3, under 51. Wisconsin beats Army 20-14. So I live bet Army money line. I should have taken the points. I knew they were going to cover. When I looked at it, I could have gotten Army at plus 10.5. Would have covered anyways, even though that wasn't the closing line. But this was just so boring. I mean, my God. Both teams, all they did was run the ball. And it was just that Wisconsin shut Army's running game down for the most part. I bet Army money line when it was 0-0 in the second quarter, I believe it was. Yeah. Wisconsin didn't score till the second quarter. And then it was 13-0 at halftime. I thought Army did a good job. They didn't score until the fourth quarter, but they got it to a one possession game with 11:22 to go and just could not get into the end zone at the end. Was weird. I actually didn't see their last touchdown drive because once Wisconsin scored their third touchdown, I kind of just looked away because I knew Army wasn't going to win anymore. But then they actually had a chance at the end. They did get an onside kick opportunity because Jabari Laws just went right down the field on him, 5 of 6, 87 yards. And then A.J. Howard punched it in from 6 yards out. But it was weird because the announcers said like it was completely the opposite of what Army had done. I guess they went out in a traditional like spread offense and just threw the ball. I guess that's what they did. I didn't, like I said, I kind of looked away once Wisconsin scored.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I can see from this though is that to me, it's weird. I mean, I know Army is like a run first team or whatever, but that's literally all they did for majority of the game. Because Tyler there, he quarterback, but he didn't throw the ball at all. He didn't even attempt to pass. He carried the ball for 17 times for 90 yards, and he did score the touchdown. But I feel like in order to win games, you just need to be one, or you need to at least do a little bit of both. You can't just rely solely on the run there.
That's Army.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, as the quarterback, you can't either hand it off or run the ball yourself. You should at least attempt a few passes. I mean, Laws there, even if it was the last drive, he still attempted 6 passes.
Well, that's what I've been saying about Army and Navy is that I think if they would switch to Air Force type offense, I think they would be winning more. I mean, Army's still 4-2. Navy's the one that's just terrible. But yeah, because Air Force has evolved, and they are more of a spread triple option. Not as much as Coastal Carolina, that's what they're classified as. Coastal Carolina's offense is a spread triple option offense, running out of the gun instead of under center and running out of more normalized formations than the sort of wing T offensive formations, condensed formations that Army and Navy do. But that also means you have to recruit a quarterback that is capable of doing those kind of things. I don't think Army or Navy has necessarily recruited those types of quarterback that are able to throw the ball and run that type of offense. They look for guys that can run the ball and throw it when they need to. But yeah, I still think Graham Mertz sucks. As you can see, he got 15 attempts, only a little over 50%, and ran 2 in on the ground. But yeah, there were 93 total runs in this game combined, 50 for Army, 43 for Wisconsin. 198 rushing for Wisconsin, 179 for Army. And actually, Army was better on third down. 6 of 14. Wisconsin was only 3 of 10. So turnovers were even. So was time of possession pretty much. It was 5 less first downs for Army, though. Defensively, a lot of tackles. Leo Chanel is my guy, though. I mean, he was everywhere. 17 tackles, 8 solos, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles lost. And one play, I remember one of those tackles were lost. Dude, they barely got the snap off, and he was tackling Tyre Tyler in the backfield. It is that quick.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, they knew it was coming, so they were able to get to the quarterback easy.
Yeah. And Jack Sanborn he's on my board, I believe, and he's been a good tackling machine all year. He is a prototypical Wisconsin linebacker. And also, Andre Carter makes an appearance for the first time in a while. Remember, we had him back when they played Western Kentucky, and he sacked Bailey Zappi 3 times in that game. But haven't had him on since. I think, anyways. Army did cover, like I told you, all they would, plus 14. And the under hit in this one, it was funny. One of my friends, my law school friends, he texted in our fantasy group chat this weekend, and he's like, Army under 38, lock of the century. And then literally, like, Army scored. And he's like, wait a minute. Just kidding. But then under 38 actually happened. I think he texted under 38. In my mind, I was thinking he texted 33, which wouldn't have covered, but maybe he did text 38. I'd have to check. I don't know. Under 37.5. Yeah. Lock of the century. And then he's like, JK, pump the brakes. Army broke out the air raid offense. But yeah, under 37.5 did end up covering. We had under 38 on ESPN. So that did hit the under, though. UTEP beaten Louisiana Tech 19-3. I know. I lost. It's fine. Whatever.
What a pretty game, though.
Yeah. I mean, again, your quarterback's throwing 3 interceptions. You're not going to win. It's easy. Austin Kendall played like crap. Didn't expect that. There was little running game on both sides. One thing, though, Jacob Cowing reemerged for the Miners, 9 for 166. He is the player I know best from UTEP because he's a superstar. And, yeah, Not much. Not
Wait.
much at all.
How did they get 19 though? I'm trying to figure that out. I see that Hankins obviously scored 2 touchdowns, but did they miss extra points or go for 2 and not get it or something?
They got a safety. They got a safety and a field goal.
Oh. Because I'm trying to see it, and I didn't see the safety on the bottom there, so I'm like, I
Yeah,
was confused.
because the guy that had the safety didn't have enough stats to put on here. Jalen Rudolph was the guy that got a safety. He only had 1 tack that was a solo and a tackle for loss. That's why he didn't get put on there.
And that was that tackle. It was the safety.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, only having two special stats does not get you on the board. Doesn't get you on the stat sheet. So, the only way that would is if you're the leading tackler of the game. But yeah, defensive Jadrian Taylor. I mean, him and Praise Amawule. I mean, we've had him on here for a couple games now for the Miners. But yeah, Jadrian Taylor. I mean, 3.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. What a day!
That's a nice game there.
UTEP plus 6.5. And under 56, way under.
You would think though in a game like this that there'd be more defensive stats, but really not.
Yeah, there actually weren't. Yeah. Air Force beating Boise State 24-17. Crazy. You know why? This makes it 3 straight losses on the blue turf for the Broncos. 3 straight. Remember when Boise State used to be impenetrable?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't buy a win in Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not. It's easy. It's easy to win at Boise State now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's due to Hank Bachmeier not necessarily being the next great Boise State quarterback. He was regarded as that like 2 years ago. 2019, Hank Bachmeier is playing very well. And I just don't think with the return of crowds this year, I don't know if that's necessarily what has done it, or it's just that maybe, they lost some guys, transfer portal, draft, whatever on offense. And I don't understand how he's not having a great game. I mean, Andrew Van Buren and Habibi Lokio, those two at running back, and the guy that's not even on here, who I think is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the country, Khalil Shakir. He's on my big board. And, he's just not getting it done. And Air Force, I really like Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
I said this on the preview on Friday. Brad Roberts is my dude from Air Force. Him and Hazik Daniels run that offense very efficiently. Hazik did have his only completion go for 59 yards.
No, but this is what I was kind of talking about when we were talking about Army. Even though Daniels didn't have the best passing line there, at least he was a threat to throw the ball. So there was that dual threat kind of element there. And that helps that helps with the for Army, the defense probably stacked the box every play. But here you can't really do that because, like I said, there is still the threat of Daniels throwing the ball.
Yeah. I love the Air Force offense. Listen, my guy Brad Roberts. I mean, he is a monster. He is 5'11", 205. Nice, shorter running back, and size. He actually weighs less than like Najee Harris. Najee Harris runs around 230.
Hmm.
But Najee's 5'11" as well. Not saying that Roberts is Najee Harris, but just that they were talking about Najee's size on Sunday night last night, and that was the guy I thought of that I knew right off the top of my head that was 5'11" at running back. But yeah, I mentioned Khalil Shakir. He actually didn't have a bad game. 4 receptions for 75 yards. It's just he didn't score and he wasn't the leading receiver for Boise State. That's why he's not on here. Yeah. Matlock, he is by far, I think, the best Boise State defender they have. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss for the Broncos, 8 tackles for solos. Air Force +3, under 52. The Mountain West is setting up to be a fun ending to the season, especially the Western Division. Dude, the West Division of the Mountain West this year is just loaded. I would hate myself if I was in that division right now. I mean, you have San Diego State, who's 6-0, 2-0 in conference. Nevada's 5-1, 2-0 in conference, and Fresno State 5-2, 2-1 in conference. And then in the Mountain Division, you have actually Colorado State's leading the Mountain Division. They are 3-3 overall, 2-0 in conference play. Air Force 6-1, 3-1 in conference play. And then you got Utah State 4-2, 2-1 in conference play. Boise State 3-4, 1-2 in conference play. So Mountain West is, I think, as far as like overall quality, how many teams they have that are of quality this season, I think they are superseding the American right now. I think literally the American is Cincinnati and SMU, and I don't think there's much else to the American right now. So,
yeah.
All right. Second to last game here. What a call from Mark. Utah upsets number 18 Arizona State 35-21. This was at Utah in Salt Lake City. And Cam Rising, 3 total touchdowns, efficient, 247 on the ground or in the air, 306 total yards. Jaden Daniels was similar. I mean, he scored 3 times as well, didn't turn it over. And what was the difference?
The interceptions.
No, Arizona State was actually +1 in turnovers. Well, yeah, because the interceptions were for Utah. I think when you look at it, it was 3rd down. Really? I mean, Utah was 7 of 11 on 3rd down. Really good. And then Arizona State only 4 of 12, 25%. Or no, 33%, 33.3%.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rushing was big disparity as well. 60 more rushing yards for Utah. Penalties. Herm Edwards. 15 penalties on Arizona State, 115 yards. That's ridiculous.
You can't do that.
Yeah, Utah only had 5 for 45. So
115 yards is literally more than the entire field. So, yeah,
5 yards short of the entire field with the end zones included.
well, yeah, but I'm talking about between the goals.
Yeah, and really it was a second half. Arizona State was up 21-7 at halftime. 28 unanswered points in the second half, 2 touchdowns in each quarter. What did it? That's what did it. Momentum at home. That's how you get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
the thing that I said on Friday that I was disappointed, they didn't get the running game going enough. Rashad White only carried it 9 times for 56 yards. Great average, but I would have liked to see White get more carries because Jaden Daniels had the most carries with 14. And then Diamante Trayanum had the second most carries at 10, and then White had 9. So, defensively, Devin Lloyd. I mean, he is a superstar for Utah. He is really the only guy that I know on Utah. I thought Charlie Brewer was the quarterback, but I think he's hurt or something. Cam Rising's been playing, and he is rising the Utes in the Pac-12. Now they are in control of the Pac-12 South because both came in undefeated in conference play, and now Utah is the only undefeated left in the South. But yeah, Devin Lloyd, monster, 2 sacks, 4 tackles, lost on a pass deflection. Also leading tackler of the game. Utah covered -1.5 over 53. Last FBS game here, Nevada. 17-point win, 34-17 in Reno. I believe that's where they play. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's where they play, though.
Somewhere in the bottom.
Yeah, Reno. That's what I thought. But yeah, Carson Strong, man. He's my guy. I love me some Carson Strong. 395, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. One thing I hated about this game, though, was what the announcers were saying. I was watching it, and because the coaches had coached with each other before, the head coaches, they thought maybe that was why Nevada kept throwing the ball in the fourth quarter, even though they were up. And Carson was taking some hits. He kept grabbing his ribs, and I didn't really like it. Definitely don't want to see Carson Strong get hurt. I really still love Nevada for the Mountain West title, even being in the same division as San Diego State and Fresno State. But yeah, Carson Strong, man, he is rising up draft boards right now.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this game though, like the amount of passes was something I was going to touch on too, because again, it's no secret I like a more balanced offense, and right there, I mean, 21 carries is still a big workload for Toa Tawa, or however you say that.
Ottawa.
But yeah, but 54 pass attempts is still a lot. And I mean, you mentioned it, that at the end of the game, they were still passing the ball rather than running the ball. So I don't know. I don't like that, but hey, they won, and they won by a pretty decisive score.
Yeah, horrible day for Braden Shager. 4 picks for the Rainbow Warriors there. Really hurt them. Day Hunter got hurt in the first half after his monstrous first half. 8 carries, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had to turn to Calvin Turner, who did not get as much, but he was the leading receiver in the game. 8 receptions, 83 yards, because they had to throw the ball at the end. Cole Turner continues to be a monster. 12 for 175. Romeo Dobbs, loved him as well. Torrey Horton got in the end zone. And very sad when you're leading receiver. Obviously, I said Calvin Turner was the overall leading receiver, but I like to put the actual receiver or tight end that position's leading receiver, not a running back. Jared Smart with 2 for 24 was the leading wide receiver for this game for Hawaii.
Not going to win games that way.
Yeah, defensively, I'm going Tristan Nichols down at the bottom. 2 sacks, 3 tackles lost to go, along with 3 tackles, all of them being solos.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure Hawaii's defense was on the field for a long time, but I like how they filled out the stat sheet, or at least filled out the tackle column there with 3 guys there getting double-digit tackles right there. And but especially Corey Bethley with 11 solos and a pass deflection as well, and 13 total time.
Nevada covers minus 14 under 62. All right, FCS game of the week. Not close. Kind of. It was close. Number 4, Southern Illinois getting it done, 31-28 at home against number 22 North Dakota. This kicked North Dakota out of the rankings. With a 2-4 record, SIU stayed at number 4 because all of the top 4 won, I believe. Actually, I don't think they all played. Sam Houston didn't play. Neither did Eastern Washington, I think. But yeah, Nick Baker again, man. 3 touchdowns. He turned it over twice, which I think is what kept North Dakota close. But yeah, they got it done.
Yeah.
And North Dakota, admirable job. Isaiah Smith running for 111 yards. Did not see that coming, considering they have Luke Skokna and Otis Weah.
Mm-hmm.
But Devin Kurzanowski with a fumble recovery for a touchdown in the end zone off a blocked punt. Fumble recovery for a touchdown. So I don't know how that happened, but that's what it said on the stat sheet. And Caleb Nelson with a pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I personally think that Schuster had the better day there between the 2 quarterbacks. I would take that any day. No turnovers, 267 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think that's a great stat line. He couldn't do it by himself. And even with a little help from that defense or special teams, I guess you could call it, with that blocked punt.
Yeah, it was a strip sack. That was the fumble. Yeah, it was 21-21 at halftime, and then 28-28, 7.5 to go, and then SIU kicked the game-winning 46-yard field goal with 5:21 to go in the game. I really wish we had defensive stats for FCS. They don't put them on ESPN for some reason. Yeah, crazy weekend in FCS. Had a couple of upsets. Dartmouth upset New Hampshire. They were ranked number 23. The biggest one, though, was Sacramento State going to Montana, upsetting number 5 Montana at home. ETSU also got upset by Chattanooga. They were number 10. I think that was all of the upsets. Delaware got upset by Stony Brook, 34-17. Delaware was number 14. Rhode Island got upset by Towson, 28-7. URI was number 12. Northern Iowa upset by South Dakota. South Dakota number 21, UNI 16. And that was it. Yeah, bunch of upsets as well on FCS this weekend. North Dakota covered, though, +9 over 53. All right, let's get to NFL here. London Jags, first win of the Urban Meyer era, first win for Trevor Lawrence as well, 23-20. Matthew Wright with the game-winning, 53, 54?
I think it was 53, I think. But this game was a crazy game. I especially the last couple minutes with those field goal attempts, because Wright had another field goal right before the game winner, or was it the game winner? Or no, it was the one right before the game winner where he kicked it and it went like 5 yards out of the thing and then curved back in. That was a crazy kick and all that, but yeah, the Jaguars finally earned their first victory, and essentially you could call this a home game for the Jaguars because they are by far the most played team in London. This was their 8th or 9th there, I think. But yeah, it was funny too because even after the game, I saw people were making fun of the Jaguars, still saying that they're still on a 20-game losing streak in the United States. So people are still going to say that they're on a losing streak even though they just won. But yeah, Lawrence looked good except for that fumble. He didn't throw an interception though for I think the first time all season. And yeah, James Robinson continues to be a solid running back for Jacksonville.
Yeah, really solid performance for Jacksonville. Tua's first game back. I thought it was pretty good on his part. And Jalen Waddle had his breakout game, first breakout game his rookie year, 10 for 70 and 2 touchdowns. But yeah, good game. Marvin Jones, 100-yard performance. Mike Gesicki also over 100 for the Dolphins. And James Robinson efficient on the ground. That's the thing that we talked about right before the show. Miami had a running game at all. That's what lost me, once again, a parlay by one leg because I had Myles Gaskin over 32 rushing yards. That was nice to see him barely get the ball at all. So, yeah. Defensively, I am going with Emmanuel Agba. Souls, sack, tackle for loss, pass selection, and a quarterback hit. The Jags plus 1.5 under 47.
Yep, and this game just started my good day of football picks here. I only lost one game on Sunday.
Not so good for me. I will say that. Vikings beating the Panthers 34-28 in overtime. And the fact that we even got to overtime was ridiculous in and of itself. Sam Darnold drove the Panthers 95 yards, I believe it was, securing a 40-yard reception to Ian Thomas on 4th and 10 from his own end zone, mind you. Then he also threw a dime, dropped it in the bucket to DJ Moore on another 4th and long, 4th and 8 at around midfield. And then Robbie Anderson finally caught one in the end zone. You know, not that he dropped 3 others on the day. I mean, that's the only reason that the Panthers lost, I thought, was their running game wasn't that great, and everyone. It wasn't just one receiver. It wasn't just Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore dropped the ball. Ian Thomas dropped a few. No one was helping Sam Darnold. And I thought he had a decent game. You know, he threw the first play of the game, I believe, was an interception. Or it was the first drive, whatever.
Yeah.
After that, I thought he played well. But, you know, the completion percentage is so misleading. Like I said, he got no help from his receivers.
Yeah, you can see it there. I mean, Moore and Anderson combined for 8 catches on 24 targets. So it's literally it's 25% catch percentage or whatever you want to call it, completion percentage. And I mean, coming from a fan that watched Darnold for 3 years or whatever as a Jets fan, I can attest that it's not always his fault. He's not an inaccurate passer. He just, his receivers for some reason never catch the ball for him. And especially Robbie Anderson, he was with them for 2 years as a Jet too, and it was the same problems that they had when they were Jets.
Yeah, and Robbie Anderson's having a terrible season. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like I kind of want to drop him in fantasy, but it's like you can't. I mean, because there's always the chance that he does turn it around, and then he turns into last year Robbie Anderson, and then he's scoring fantasy points at will.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been that type of year. DJ Moore had been having that type of year, and I mean he still had 73 yards in this one, but again, there was key drops. But Cook ran wild once again, 140 yards and a touchdown. Kirk Cousins, fantastic game, 373 and 3 touchdowns.
Adam Thielen was a fantasy stud for me.
Game-winning touchdown to KJ Osborne, which that was very deflating. I thought the Panthers did all that work. They came back from 11 points down with how much time did they have in the fourth quarter? 10 minutes and 15 seconds. They were down 11 points in the fourth quarter. And they didn't score until 4:41, made it an 8-point game. Zane Gonzalez field goal. And then they final drive scored with 42 seconds left and got the 2-point conversion to Tommy Tremble on an excellent play call. The shovel pass to Tommy Tremble was probably the best play call of Joe Brady's game. But yeah. And I agree with Matt Rule. You know, they got to get back to running the ball efficiently. That will help open it up. So your guy, Chris Herndon, scored a touchdown for the Vikings in this one.
Yeah, I saw somebody complaining about that in one of the Jets groups that I'm in on Facebook, saying how all these former Jets were scoring touchdowns on Sunday. Herndon being one, Le'Veon Bell for the Ravens being another. But hey, they're old Jets, so I don't even care about them anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that the Vikings traded for Herndon and he hasn't been the guy with Irv Smith being out. It's been Tyler Conklin. So, granted, they don't use their tight end at all, really. It's the 3 receivers, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But Hassan Reddick, nice day, 3 tackles loss. Kenny Robinson returned the blocked punt 4 yards to the house. Nice special teams play there. First block punt, I believe, in 5 years. I think it was 2016. I think they said is the last one. Maybe, I don't know. There was some stat that they put on during the game that was like since 98 or something like that, but I don't remember what that was. Vikings cover -2.5 and over 46. Packers beating the Bears 24-14, and I don't know if you knew this, Chris, but the Bears have a new owner, according to Wikipedia, and it is one Aaron Rodgers. I thought that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers running in the last touchdown of the game, 6 yards, getting flicked. I didn't even know this until I saw it today, that there was a lot of people flicking him off in the end zone, and that's why he said it, that he owned the Bears, and he still owns them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not wrong. He is not wrong. He has destroyed the Bears throughout his career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this it made me a little nervous though at first, because it was a close game for a while,
Mhm.
and then towards the end of the game, he kind of took off. Obviously, I've been following the Packers very closely all season because, for one, I have them as my Super Bowl pick, and two, in our keeper league, I have Devontae Adams, who didn't have all that great of a game. Surprisingly, he only had 5 targets all game. So I don't know if the Bears were just locking him down or if he just wasn't really in the game plan for the Packers, which is unusual. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Who were you saying, Devontae or Aaron Jones?
For Devontae Adams, I'm
Oh, I mean,
surprised he wasn't involved or more than he was.
yeah. I mean, they were running the ball, really. And I mean, plus the Bears probably triple teamed him all day. So I don't know. I was very happy with Khalil Herbert. Had a great fantasy day in our keeper league. Granted, I'm gonna lose still. Because Derrick Henry is going to destroy my hopes and dreams.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy about the Bears fantasy day because in our dynasty league, I'm playing against that Bears fan that we have in our dynasty league, and he has Khalil Herbert and Darnell Mooney, who both scored touchdowns, and I lost by just over a point. Granted, it's my own fault for not playing certain players, but still.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's a nice day for Khalil Herbert. And remember, I told you, I was like, well, I guess I got to start Herbert. I don't have any other running backs with all the guys getting hurt and whatnot. And Michael Carter's on a bye.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Roquan, another double-digit tackle day for him. And Kenny Clark, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 2 QB hits for the Packers defense. Packers covered -5.5. I cashed on that one. And under 44. Bengals cashed on this one as well. 34-11 win in Detroit. Joseph Burrow, pretty good game. Brandon Allen even came in through a touchdown to Auden Tate. And Goff not so good, but it's fine. I'll take the receiving fantasy points and the late garbage touchdown from DeAndre Swift in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they had to throw the ball because they were down pretty much the entire game, but the Lions are not going to win a game relying on Jared Goff's arm. They have to get that run game going.
Yeah, I concur. It was pitiful running day for DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams as well. But I'm just happy that I can still start Swift as a flex because of his PPR value. He's been a monster out of the backfield catching the ball. So
yeah, I think I'm done with Jamal Williams because he is part of the reason why I lost our dynasty league because I decided to start him over guys like Zach Ertz and Cole Beasley, who obviously hasn't played yet, but I'm sure Cole Beasley will get more than 1.9 points that Jamal Williams got.
Oh, I'm hoping. I'm in a dynasty league battle. I'm up by 4, and I have Cole Beasley versus Diggs tonight. I'm praying Beasley's a red zone monster.
Well, Diggs hasn't been so far this season, so we'll see.
It's okay. I just need Emmanuel Sanders to score. That's for the first one. I think that's who my first touchdown pick is for everyone that wants that. But
Logan Wilson, he is having a really good season for Cincinnati. They found a pretty good linebacker last year in the draft out of Wyoming in the 3rd round, I believe. They drafted 2 guys in the 3rd round last season. 6 tackles, 5 solos, 2 tackles lost, pass deflection, and a pick. I cashed Bengals minus 3.5 on this one, and I also cashed no score first 6 minutes, or no, the under 9 in the first quarter. It was very close. The Bengals got a turnover, or no, the Lions got a turnover in Cincinnati territory, the Joe Burrow pick, and then thank you, I believe it was Trey Hendrickson that got the sack that pushed Detroit back to like midfield. Under 47. Very close.
Oof. One more field goal would have done it.
Colts blowing out the Texans 31-3. Again, the 1 p.m. slate was just trash. Outside of the Vikings-Panthers overtime game, the 1 p.m. game sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz, dude, the percentage is not great, but I mean, his beautiful touchdown to Paris Campbell was fine. I think Wentz is looking really good right now. I mean, he is confident, and they're not asking him to do too much because they have a consistent running game in Jonathan Taylor, who went off again.
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly what I've been talking about. And a consistent and even offense, running the ball and passing the ball. I mean, granted, Carson Wentz was only 11 for 20, so that's not a great completion percentage, but still, he was efficient with those 11 passes, 223 and 2 touchdowns. And this Colts team though is the exact opposite of what I thought they were going to be. Granted, in this game, their defense was really good, but other than this game, I feel like their defense, who coming into the season I thought was the strong part of this team, hasn't been that great. But yeah, this game, their defense just, again, granted it was against the Texans, but still, the Colts defense in this game was probably one of the best performances I've seen out of any defense all season.
Yeah, just trying to get a little thing in here. Yeah, Brandon Cooks continues. I mean, he's literally the only fantasy relevant player on the Texans, and continues to put up PPR numbers. Anyways, yeah, Jonathan Taylor, dude, back-to-back 30-point fantasy games is I'm loving life right now.
Mark Ingram's not a bad waiver wire option if you're desperate for a running back, but yeah, well, Brandon Cooks is the only consistent Houston player.
Yeah, well, you know, I had Mark Ingram in my fraternity league, and he didn't do crap except for week 1 when I didn't start him. Actually, I think I did, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, no. I wish I was correct. I did think that Mo Alley Cox was going to score again this week, and I was right. Unfortunately, I didn't wager on that one, but T.Y. Hilton, pretty solid game. First game back off of IR.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about that because he took Michael Pittman's he took away Pittman's targets, so I'm not too happy about that one.
Yeah, I got Pittman in Dynasty as well. Defensively, Jonathan Greenard. We'll see. There was someone that just got released by the Texans because Jonathan Greenard is now the starting outside linebacker. But really solid day for the second-year player. 6 tackles, 5 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tucks plus, and 3 quarterback hits. Colts covered minus 11.5, under 45. Rams, another blowout, 38-11 against the Giants in LA at SoFi Stadium. Dude, Matthew Stafford is killing people. Just lighting them up. I mean, him and Cooper Kupp, dude. That's all you need to know.
I'll take those Cooper Kupp receptions all day because I got him in our keeper league.
Well, I
And
got Stafford. When do we play, Chris?
I don't know. But yeah, Stafford just continues to build his case for potential MVP here. Granted, again, kind of like what I was just saying with the Colts, it is only against the Giants. But that Giants defense isn't that bad, except for yesterday, yeah. They Stafford just tore up that Giants offense. And this was the game that I was able to watch because I am in the New York market. So this is like the main game on CBS or no, this was on Fox.
Yeah.
I forget what the CBS game was because the Jets weren't playing, obviously. But yeah, the this game, I knew a lot of people that were actually at the game too, and it was just every single one of them were all happy at the beginning of the game, and everybody that posted on their story, you could see them progressively get more and more depressed as the game went on because it was just such a bad game. But yeah, the not much to say about this one except for the Rams offense is just probably the best one in the league right now.
That's debatable, but
And it I just wanted to like highlight something. I forget what we were talking about before. It was one of the college games, and you were saying about how one of the defensive linemen was getting double teamed or whatever. Well, there's a clip from this past weekend in this game. Aaron Donald was about to be double teamed, but he literally just split the two guys and ran right through to tackle Booker. So that just shows Aaron Donald being the beast that he is.
we're not giving him another Defensive Player of the Year award.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that because I picked him as my defensive player of the year, but
No,
I don't think he'll get it this year though.
he doesn't need a fourth one.
I think Diggs is the front runner right now anyway.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about him. But yeah, loved this game. Woods scored, Cup scored, everyone scored. Defensively, I am going with Taylor Rapp, the safety for the Rams. 5 tackles, 1 solo, 3 pass selections, a quarterback hit, and 2 interceptions off of Daniel Jones. Weird. Dante Pettis had 11 targets in this game. That's because Tony went down. Tony pissed me off. 6.6 fantasy points, man. Come on.
Yeah, Tony went down, and they're still without Galladay, so there's not much receiving options for the Giants.
And Slayton. Slayton's hurt still too.
Mm-hmm.
Rams covered -7.5. I was on that one, and the over under 49 pushed. Forgot to say Xavier McKinney also had 2 interceptions in that game. One off of Matthew Stafford, one off of John Wolford, his only throw. What a comeback for the Chiefs, 31-13. What was it, 21 unanswered points in the second half for the Chiefs?
Yeah, they were down 13-10 at halftime.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I don't know. Like, they need to stop turning the ball over. It's become a thing. They turned it over 3 more times in this game. 2 picks from Mahomes, and McCole Hardman fumbled. Yeah. I mean, their big boys came to play in the second half, though. Kelsey, almost 100 yards. Tyreek with 9 for 76 and a touchdown. Darrell Williams scored twice. Great fantasy day for him.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, he's on my bench in our Dynasty League. Good thing is, it's not going to matter because I already won.
Yeah. Mahomes has had a very off year for him, but I was watching something earlier, and I didn't realize how many of the interceptions that he's had so far this year. I think he has 8, and I'm pretty sure like at least half of them have gone through the receiver's hands. Like 3 or 4 of them have gone through the receiver's hands, including one of his 2 in yesterday's game. Went right through Tyreek Hill's hands.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks, Tyreek has caused an interception for Mahomes.
But the other one, though, that he threw was one of the worst throws I've ever seen him try to make. the other interception he threw was literally just a lob up to the defense to avoid a sack. And yeah, that was a terrible decision on his part.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing there. I was dumbfounded.
But the one guy I do want to highlight, though, I picked him up at the last minute on Saturday, I think. The tight end for Washington, Ricky Seals-Jones, filling in for Logan Thomas. I picked him up in our dynasty league, and I started him, and he didn't disappoint. 4 catches for 58 and the touchdown.
Defensively, not a lot there. I'm going to go Washington, though. Cole Holcomb, 10 tackles, 9 solos, sack, pass deflection, and a quarterback hit.
Hey, your defensive player of the year, though, he
sucks.
got on board with a sack.
He sucks. Chiefs covered. I was on that one. Luckily, I got on that one. -6.5, under 54. Ravens blowing out the Chargers in Baltimore. What even happened in this game? I mean, the Ravens ran all over Joey Bosa, Derwin James, and the Chargers defense. Lamar didn't have to do much in the passing game, really didn't do much, under 60% completion on 39 attempts. Also threw a terrible interception to Kaiser White. Or no, that's Justin Herbert. I don't know what I'm looking at the top one. Herbert looked like crap in this one. Partly due to the Ravens defense. But yeah, the Kaiser White, I don't know if that was his first or second interception off of Lamar, but that one, he just threw it right to him, dude.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, look at the touchdowns. Devontae Freeman scored. Latavius Murray scored. Le'Veon Bell scored. The cast-off crew.
That was another. Latavius Murray is another guy I have on my dynasty bench who got way more points than Jamal Williams did.
But
I don't know why I started Jamal Williams, but
look at the distribution though. Even Lamar got 8 carries, Freeman, Murray both with 9, and Le'Veon with 8 carries. It's the fantasy hell right there. And for the running backs, anyways.
Well, they still all got a decent fantasy output though, because they all scored touchdowns.
Oh, Le'Veon only had 7.8, but more than some people had. This is true. Mark Andrews, another great day for him. I believe he was around 17 points, something like that. 15, 17, yeah.
Yeah. Very disappointed though in Eckler. 6 carries, 7 yards, and 4 catches for 48. That was not an Eckler-like performance.
Yeah, they couldn't run the ball at all on the Ravens defense. And I was also disappointed. I had a touchdown parlay that was rolling. I was good after the 1:00 games. And then I just had Eckler and Hunt. Hunt didn't get in the end zone. He got injured. And then Eckler, the Chargers only had the 1 touchdown to cook. But great, pretty good defensive performances there for 3 of the 4 guys. I mean, James was the leading tackler, but Kaiser White, like I talked about, 8 tackles, 3 solos, tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, quarterback hit, and 2 picks. But Deshaun Elliott too. I mean, stuff in the stats.
Yeah, this was the one game that I got wrong this weekend, and wow, we were all on the Chargers for this one, but wow, we were wrong. Like the Chargers couldn't even cover this one.
So I said I was surprised that no one took the Ravens, and yeah, the Chargers not covering also screwed me over. I had Chargers +9. That didn't work out. That was even a teaser. +9.
Hmm.
That's the second like +9 this year that hasn't covered for me. The other being the Eagles on Monday night there.
Hmm.
But yeah, Ravens cover -3 under 51. Chris, you ready for another blowout? Because we got another one. Cardinals undefeated 6-0, beating up, rolling the Browns 37-14 in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield struggled. I mean, he was getting beaten, banged all day. They were missing their starting tackles, Jedrick Wills and I'm blanking on the other side.
I can't think of him either.
Oh, Conklin, Jack Conklin, both out for this game. That was definitely a struggle. I mean, you can see down at the bottom, Marcus Golden, Jordan Hicks both having 2 sacks. JJ Watt got a sack, and then Robert Alford had a pick. Kareem Hunt, like I said, got hurt, but wasn't the greatest performance in Nick Chubb's stead. Usually, whenever Chubb had been out, he had done very well, but against the Cardinals defense is for real, I think, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And all Kyler Murray did was not turn it over and throw 4 touchdowns. So,
yeah. Now, this game, I mean, obviously the Browns had their injuries and whatnot, but this game just showed why the Cardinals are the only undefeated team in football right now. They have probably the best all-around team in football. Yeah, a lot of and Murray was spreading the love here too, because AJ Green caught a touchdown, Christian Kirk caught a touchdown, and Hopkins kind of was a little greedy and caught 2, but that's beside the point. All 3 of the receivers caught a touchdown though, and James Conner though he had a little bit of a disappointing game, but
yeah, initially I was rooting for the Browns because I picked them, but then I had also placed a little wager on AJ Green, 125 plus receiving yards, and he was on his way, man. I mean, 79, just could not get there.
believe me, I was rooting for him too. He's another one on my dynasty team. I did start him though, and he did get me a solid chunk of points. I think 18 points or something like that.
Yeah, about 50 yards short there.
Mm-hmm.
But Donovan Peoples-Jones, very nice day. Jarvis Landry on IR. He caught the Hail Mary at the end of the first half from Baker Mayfield, which thought maybe the Browns would get back in it after that. And that's when I live bet the Browns plus 11.5. Thought that's an easy cover. Browns double digit spread live. Come on. Like, they're going to cover that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that didn't happen. Unfortunately. Yeah. Hopkins scored twice. Defensively, I already said about it. I mean, look at all the sacks and the hits that they were putting on Baker Mayfield all day. Just overall, they sacked Baker 5 times, hit him 6 times. 6 tackles for loss, 6 pass deflections.
And I do just have to point out though that JJ Watt is still a classy player, because if it's the play I think it was on his sack, Baker went down and was hurt for a little bit, and JJ Watt was right there trying to wave over the training staff for the Browns. So he didn't just walk away and say, okay, I sacked him, whatever. He actually was concerned about Mayfield.
I will say Jadeveon Clowney has been a very good signing for Cleveland. He has panned out nicely for them. Cardinals +3 over 48. All right, we finally got a close game. Finally got a close-ish game. Raiders, 34-24 win in Denver. Derek Carr, efficient, 341, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Can't say the same for Teddy Bridgewater. 3 picks and a fumble on the day. Did throw 3 touchdowns, so kept them in it. The Broncos defense kept them in it, keeping it to only a 10-point game. And why did Kenyon Drake have to score 2 touchdowns? Tell me. Why? Why did if it's in the league, I'm thinking it was in, which I'm going to lose. Yes, it was. Or no. Yeah. In the flex for the guy I'm playing against in my fraternity league, 21 points. And now he has Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, and AJ Brown against me tonight. I am currently up by 23 points.
That's all right.
AJ Brown ain't gonna do anything. It's fine.
Mm-mm.
Maybe Dawson Knox can do anything. I have a shot, but
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there with you though. I mean, in this game, I had my choice of tight ends in our keepers league because I have Darren Waller and I have Noah Fant. I went with Darren Waller, who I mean he had a decent game, but Noah Fant had a much better game than Darren Waller did. Didn't end up mattering because I'm still winning, but yeah, I could have won by more.
yeah, decent for Javonte Williams. You know, I'm banking on him in my fraternity league. He's my second. He's my RB2. I have to start him every week, so you know I'm hoping that I don't know he can take control some point, but it doesn't look like it's heading that way anytime soon. Him and Melvin's still pretty even split, but I need to get Tim Patrick, dude. I need to get him. Granted, you know, receivers are galore, running backs are scarce, but Tim Patrick's pretty good one right now. Defensively, dude, Max Crosby is a man. He is having a season right now. 6 tackles, 2 solos, 3 sacks, tackle for loss, pass deflection, 5 quarterback hits. Now, we talked about the Cardinals defense hitting Kyler, or the Browns hitting Baker. The Raiders defense on Teddy Bridgewater. Of course, my phone doesn't want to load right now. Yeah, okay. So nothing's working in terms of my phone. I only have maybe. Oh, yeah, here we go. 5 sacks. You ready for this one? 17 quarterback hits. 17. And you can see 11 of them right there. Max Crosby, Damian Square, and Solomon Thomas. Those 2 having 3 and Crosby's 5. Corey Littleton pitching in 1 up there as well. But yeah, they also had 8 pass deflections as well for a secondary that had been marred by injuries. Pretty decent day. Raiders +5 over 45. I know I lost again. It's fine. Cowboys, what a game. 35-29 win in overtime over the Patriots in Foxborough. And I mean, dude, is there anyone that's playing better than Dak right now?
No.
He is shredding everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this game was insane. I unfortunately didn't get to actually watch it because I was driving during the game, but I was listening to it and paying close attention to the score because obviously I was, or me being a Jets fan, I love listening to the Patriots losing, and watching the Patriots lose. But yeah, this game was just back and forth pretty much all game, especially at the end. Obviously, it went into overtime. But the fact that the two teams scored, I think, 3 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes of the game or something was crazy. Even if the Patriots touchdown at the end was a blown coverage situation, but yeah,
I have never. I mean, this one was very close to the Chris Taylor for the Dodgers in the wild card game, walking off and covering the -1.5 this year. This one was right up with it. I mean, myself and a couple friends were talking about it during the game, and we're like, there's no chance that we're going to cover -3.5 at this point in the fourth quarter. And then we get to overtime. Patriots get stopped, and then we're like, well, you know, McCarthy's McCarthy. He's going to go get a field goal. And just the throw to CeeDee Lamb, and then the fact that he got into the end zone, one of the top betting moments that I've ever had, covering the -3.5 in overtime. You know, people can hate me because I was rooting for the Cowboys, but you can't choose who you root for when you're making money.
exactly.
So, plus it was two teams that I hate anyways. It's, you know, the only time I don't root for a bet is I don't bet against my own team usually, but there are certain instances where I will, like Thursday night when the Bucks were playing against the Eagles.
Yeah.
Granted, I won +7 on the Eagles, so that's fine.
No, but plus this game helps you in the other bet that you have with the Patriots finishing 4th. So
Yeah.
of course you're going to root for the Cowboys.
CD went off 2 touchdowns. That was the craziest thing, like you were saying earlier. It's the Cowboys got the field goal they get a touchdown first.
Yeah, they got the touchdown, failed the 2 points.
Because they were down 1 after Ramondre Stevenson's touchdown, 21-20. Then they get stopped by the Patriots. And then Mr. Diggs has another interception, his 7th of the year through 6 games. Pick 6, 42 yards to the house. Cowboys up 26-21. Go for 2, miss it. 26-21. Patriots, what do? Next play, double move on Trayvon Diggs. 75 yards to the house for Kendrick Bourne.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dak drives him down. Greg Zuerlein game-tying field goal because Patriots got the 2-point conversion.
Mm-hmm. No, we were talking about it before. Trayvon Diggs is the clear front runner right now for Defensive Player of the Year. And no, I just wanted to point out something I saw right before the show, and I kind of laughed about it. But Trayvon Diggs, last night, the interception that he got was his 2nd touchdown of the year. His brother, Stephon, the receiver for the Bills, only has 1 touchdown so far this year.
Yep.
Which is crazy. I mean, I'm sure Trayvon Diggs has more touchdowns than a lot of receivers, but just the fact that it's somebody like Stephon Diggs, who's the centerpiece of an offense, and he only has 1 touchdown on the year. Meanwhile, a cornerback has 2 touchdowns on the year. It's just crazy. Granted, he kicked high on tonight, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, Diggs is going to score tonight, I think, anyways. But, that's my defensive player, anyways. Randy Gregory was close second. He had a hell of a game there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, like I said, covered -3.5 and over 51. Sunday Night Football, overtime once again, 23-20 win for the Steelers. And this is your defensive player of the year. No, I'm just kidding. Not this year. Should have been the reigning defensive player of the year. Just saying. I'm not letting that one go. Not letting it go, dude. But yeah, the Steelers, it was tough to run the ball all night. I had a bunch of bets with Najee Harris player props getting over 100 yards. Couldn't do that, but did cash Najee Harris' first touchdown of the game, which was nice. Helped me cover the losses of the parlays. So, what did you think of your boy Gino?
Well, I was just gonna say this whole game frustrated me from top to bottom because the Steelers' offense is still terrible. Because I thought that this was their chance to go off last night because they were facing a subpar defense, and they just didn't perform all that well. Harris had an okay game, but Roethlisberger and the passing offense still hasn't gotten it together. But yeah, Gino, for the fact that this was the first time he started in almost 4 years, I don't think he was that bad. He obviously didn't throw an interception, which is always good. I don't remember the fumble really. I can't remember. Oh wait, no, that was the last. Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, no, never mind. I forget. I just said that. Yes, I do remember the fumble. That was what T.J. Watt did at the end of the game. But yeah. Aside from that, though, Geno Smith played a pretty solid game. The other thing that frustrates me, though, is Alex Collins. He goes from having a bad game last week, or like an okay game last week, to having a great game this week. Of course, I decided to drop him, and he goes off. But I was not going to start him against the Steelers' defense anyway. But clearly, he still did perfectly fine. But yeah, this game all around was frustrating to me. I mean, the Steelers ended up winning anyway, so I still got that going for me, but still.
Yeah, that's the Steelers defense still for real. Regardless of Collins running 100 yards on him and whatnot. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt was a monster, especially in crunch time.
Mm-hmm.
The first and second, because the first drive in overtime, TJ Watt got a sack that pushed the Seahawks out of field goal range, had to punt it. And then obviously the biggest play of the game, the monstrous tomahawk chop on Geno Smith to get the ball at the 16-yard line for the Steelers offense.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I hate head coaches doing that. Overtime, just because you need a field goal to win. I never understand. Use your downs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have first down on the 16-yard line. Why not run it 3 times? You have a guy that doesn't have a propensity to fumble in Najee Harris. There's always that opportunity for the defense, yeah, but if they were preaching all week that they were going to get back to the running game, and I mean, they did. They ran 24 times for Najee. Kalen Balaj had a couple nice runs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I had money on the cover, but not just that. If I was a head coach and we're in overtime, I don't care. I'm not letting it up. We've seen too many kickers miss kicks this year.
Yeah.
Regardless, I mean, Chris Boswell is as consistent as it gets, especially at Heinz Field. He's probably, I don't actually know, but he's probably the best, if not one of the best kickers ever at Heinz Field. regardless of team.
I think I did hear them say last night that he has the record at that stadium.
Yeah, he does have the longest field goal ever at Heinz Field.
Hmm.
But it seems like other kickers struggle at Heinz with the open end zone, but he usually hits them. Alex Highsmith as well had a nice night. 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 4 quarterback hurries there. So, or quarterback hits, I should say. They were another team that hit Gino quite a bit. And I hated the fumble from Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know. I understand what they were saying with it. I don't. It was a stupid play. Seahawks plus 5.5 covered. Over under 43 pushed. And I was really mad about that because I was gonna live bet over 41.5 when it was 17-17 or something like that. No, it was 17-10, I believe. Seahawks were driving to tie it. And I was like, dude, this is easy. It's 27. Or no, and then they got a touchdown and it was 34 points. And I was like thinking about the over 43.5. I was like, bro, they only need 10 more points. It was like 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But then I didn't. So happily I didn't. But it went from 41.5 to 43.5 like that. And I was so pissed off. Because I was right. 41.5 would have covered. I hit the over. Okay, that is it for the game recast. Let's roll through NCAA news here. So, starting off, college football. 2 things. First off, we already talked about it, but Tennessee, they were fined $250,000 for their fans throwing trash onto the field during the Ole Miss game. Caused a 20-minute plus delay of the game. So there's some chunk change for Tennessee. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, $250K to them is not much being an SEC team. And the second piece of SEC news that we have, did I say SEC news? NCAA news. It's SEC. I mean, both are SEC anyways. But LSU and head coach Ed Orgeron have reached a separation agreement. This came on Sunday morning there. So I have a bunch of things written up about this. So he will not return for the 2022 season. That's given. One thing that I thought was weird is that he will coach out the rest of the season. And if LSU makes a bowl, he will coach the bowl game as well. So, I mean, it's going to be a nice send-off, especially I think they will make a bowl. They're good enough to get 6 wins, I think. But, yeah, it's going to be weird, I think. He is going to receive a $17 million buyout that starts with incremental payments in December. The first payment being $5.68 million. And then there's a pay schedule that I had screenshot. It's like January, June, July, and December every year through 2025. He gets money in those months. 667,000, 1,750,000, 1,750,000, 750,000, 750,000, 750K, 750K, 500K, 750K, 500K, 750K, 426K, 756K, and 426K throughout 2020 through 2025.
Not bad payments throughout the year.
Yeah, pretty much. The one other interesting stipulation is that he cannot coach in the SEC in the next 18 months, which Coach O said he is fine with that anyways. He said he doesn't plan on coaching in 2022. He said he's 60 years old. He said he's got to try to enjoy life a little bit. But Andy Reid also said he wasn't going to coach the next season after being fired by the Eagles. So, Coach O's stats, 49-17 at LSU, included a 30-14 conference record in 5+ seasons, took over when Les Miles was fired in 2016. Coached, I believe, 6 games, going 4-2 in that season. Obviously, 2019 national champion with Joe Burrow, Joe Brady, Jamar Chase, and the like. And since then, 9-8 overall, 7-6 SEC conference record. Has not been pretty. And I think ESPN just put out a story about it too, how the relationship deteriorated rapidly in just 21 months after the national championship. So what to see. There's always with the high profile coaching spots, there's a lot of rumors who will be next there. I've heard Jimbo Fisher from A&M possibly. I've also heard the group of 5 coaches. You have Luke Fickell with Cincinnati, who I don't think will leave because they're going to be a Power 5 school within the next couple of seasons. You have Jamie Chadwell with Coastal Carolina. You also have Louisiana's head coach. I'm just blanking hard on his name right now. If Mark was here, he'd know it. I know he knows that name. But Louisiana's head coach, and also I think I heard Mario Cristobal as well, who is coaching at, he's not Oregon's head coach anymore, I don't think. Oh, he's at FAU, maybe. I don't know. But Mario Cristobal is another one that I heard out there as well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be. It'll be interesting, to say the least, to follow who gets that one. NFL news. President of the Hall of Fame, David Baker, he has retired immediately after 8 seasons in the chair position. That it's time for someone else to enjoy the best job in the world. So Seahawks came out today. They have talked to quarterback Cam Newton. Just preliminary kind of thing, doing their due diligence just to see what's out there. The Cowboys, they will get some offensive line help back this week. Lyle Collins, offensive tackle Lyle Collins, he has been reinstated from his 5-game suspension, and he will be back with the team, probably going to play this week. Or not play, they have a bye, so gets 2 weeks to get ready. This week is big week. Guys that were placed on the PUP list to start the season can return starting this upcoming weekend. Three big names that could be back: Packers offensive tackle David Bakhtiari, Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas, who I heard is still a few weeks away, and then Panthers corner Stephon Gilmore, who the Panthers opened his 21-day practice window already, so he will begin practicing with the team. I would think that because he hasn't practiced in like a year, he didn't practice all off season, so because he was still rehabbing from his injury. So I would think that he doesn't play this week, but maybe week 8. I would think.
I mean, I don't know. I could see him playing, maybe not a lot though. Maybe he gets a couple plays in if he is active, but I don't know.
The Saints, they designated kicker Will Lutz to return off of IR. Massively needed. Saints have had a rotating carousel of kickers. So hopefully they can get him back, get more consistency back at the position coming up here in the next few weeks. And just getting news here, college news. Washington State has fired head coach Nick Rolovich, and his assistants were also fired for cause over COVID-19 vaccine mandate. So, wow, maybe they don't want to get the vaccine apparently, or something like that. I would have to read the entire story, but that was just the CBS Sports notification that I got. So, yeah, Washington State, a second head coach opportunity opening this offseason. All right, guys placed on IR this week. Panthers, they placed running back Christian McCaffrey and rookie offensive guard Deontay Brown on the IR list. McCaffrey going to be out at least the 3 weeks minimum, which this pisses me off because, I said this from the beginning. Whenever he got injured, I had no idea why they were not putting him on IR and still trying to just rehab and get him back within 2 weeks. I knew it wasn't going to happen. It's a hamstring injury. It's not going to happen that quickly. And he was practicing the one day last week, and then he couldn't practice. And I'm just going to say I told you so, Panthers. So, anyway. Colts, they placed kicker Rodrigo Blankenship on IR. He's going to be out minimum 3 weeks. Mike Badgley looked pretty good for Indy this weekend. So, they're good there. Texans, they placed offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil on IR with his thumb injury, torn UCL ligament. Texans also placed offensive lineman Marcus Cannon on IR. He just had surgery and I believe it was knee surgery. I can't remember. But he's going to be out about 12 weeks, so possibly the rest of the season there for Marcus Cannon. Vikings today placed corner Patrick Peterson on IR. That's a hamstring injury as well. Injuries from yesterday, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. He left the stadium in a walking boot. Was going to have an MRI today, and I guess did, but I haven't heard any update. But it's described as a right calf strain, So they got a bye this week, luckily for them. So shouldn't miss any time, I would think. But you never know with those calf injuries. Seahawks defensive end Daryl Taylor, scary situation last night, immobilized, taken off in a stretcher. Good thing, though, he was moving his legs and extremities. So hopefully not as serious as what it looked like last night.
Yeah, I haven't heard any update about it since last night, but yeah, they were taking their time with him. He was on the ground for a good 20 minutes, it seemed like, because they went to commercial, came back, and then went back to commercial before he was even taken off the field. So yeah, he was down and they were working on him for a while. So I don't know exactly what the
Neck
injury was or whatever, but
neck injury. And you could see it. You could see when they replayed it, he went straight top of the helmet into his own player, actually. He thought he was hitting Najee Harris, but ended up missing and hit his own guy instead. The Bucks corner Richard Sherman, he had an MRI on his hamstring, should miss a couple weeks, but not expected to be placed on IR. Wow, more college news. Breaking news. The American Athletic Conference, they're going to extend applications to Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, Rice, UAB, and UTSA this week. Expectation is all 6 we're going to accept. Interesting school selections.
yeah, I was gonna say that. Some pretty good ones, but also some very bad ones.
But it's 3 Texas schools, UTSA, North Texas, and Rice. You got 1 Alabama school in UAB, 1 Florida school in FAU, and 1 North Carolina school in Charlotte. So right around the southern bend there. But it kind of fits because the AAC is kind of, I can't say east of the Mississippi because they're not with the Texas schools, but and the Alabama schools. Right? No. Alabama's before Mississippi. Whatever. But pretty much it's like east of the Mississippi is pretty much most of the AAC schools. But looking to get a bigger conference, but now it's again the ramifications. Like that's 6 schools that Conference USA is going to lose. Like where do they get schools from now? Because I believe Conference USA only has 12. I could be wrong. My phone's about to die, and I don't have my charger with me right here. But anyways, breaking news there. Look at this. We're having fun breaking news. We got to end this soon anyways. We're getting there. Almost done. Giants defensive tackle Danny Shelton. He has a strained left pec. He is day-to-day. Expectation is that it's not torn. Browns running back Kareem Hunt, big injury here, out several weeks with a calf injury, likely going on IR. 4 to 6 weeks is the estimated time there. So adjust your fantasy lineups accordingly.
That just means more touches for Nick Chubb when he comes back.
When he comes back. They play Thursday night. Browns linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah also going to be out weeks. He has a high ankle sprain, also expected 4 to 6 weeks there. The Texans are making a youth movement right now. 1 in 5, they're cutting people. You know how they signed all those people? They're cutting them now. Today, just a couple of minutes ago, they released returner Andre Roberts, one of the better kick and punt returners out there. And also the big one, they are releasing linebacker Whitney Merciless. So big free agent pass rusher available now. Only has 3 sacks this season, but quality depth there if you can get him.
Yeah, he joins a team that already has a solid lineup. I think he'll fit right in.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but and I don't think they would because they already have a solid defense so far this year. But what if he continues the Houston movement to Arizona? Because that's where he had his most success was when J.J. Watt was in Houston. That's when Whitney Merciless had the best seasons he has had in his career.
Yeah,
was with J.J. Watt. So maybe L.A. I think could possibly use some pass rushers outside of Leonard Floyd. I mean, Ogbonnia Okoronkwo had a nice strip sack of Daniel Jones this weekend, but that's another interior player that he could benefit from playing with Aaron Donald. But like I said, they already do have Leonard Floyd on the outside, so it wouldn't necessarily be a need. Jets, Chris.
Hey, if they were closer, I'd say go ahead, but no, they don't need him right
now. The Niners, they are signing linebacker Michael Kendricks. He was with them in camp, got injured. Now expected to sign back to their 53-man roster. The Giants, they are signing linebacker Bernard McKinney, former Texans, and got traded to the Dolphins this offseason, subsequently cut. They are signing him to their practice squad. And the Bears with Damian Williams on the COVID list right now. David Montgomery on IR. They were working out running backs Duke Johnson and Chris Thompson this week. So, all right, pick standings, dude. If you want Monday night and Thursday night picks, man, we got you. We are on fire. Only miss for you and Mark was a Sunday night game when the Ravens beat the Chiefs. We all had Kansas City. And then the only other loss I have is my stupid self picking the Eagles to beat the Cowboys on Monday night a couple weeks back. So, but other than that, dude, we are money right now on Monday night, Monday and Thursday night.
Games haven't really been that hard to pick though.
True.
But I think these two that we're picking for this week are kind of tough, especially the Thursday night game.
Yeah. Just to go back to the American Conference USA thing, I forgot to look at it. So Americans losing 3 teams, Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, right? And then BYU out of Independent is going to the Big 12. So getting 6 teams, they'd still have an odd number. But that would put them at or actually they wouldn't have an odd number because they already have an odd number with 11. So they would be at a 14-team conference there for the American. Conference USA, on the other hand, like I said, 1, 2, 3. Well, they already have they'd be actually fine still without even adding anyone. They already have 14. So even if they didn't add anyone, still having an 8-team conference, you could do away with the East and West divisions and just have an 8-team best 2 teams make the conference championship. But I mean, that would leave you with UTSA dominating, I feel like. UAB, Rice, North Texas out of the West. FAU, Charlotte. Or no, I said UTSA, right, to go to the American. Okay, so then Marshall would probably be the dominator there, or UTEP, maybe. I don't know. It'd definitely be a weaker conference without UTSA, UAB, and Charlotte, and FAU even, I mean. But anyways, let's pick tonight's game. We're all on Buffalo. It's jinxed. You know why? Because I saw a picture, all the ESPN Monday Night Countdown people picked Buffalo as well.
I wouldn't mind the upset. I wouldn't mind being wrong here, but I just
No.
couldn't go against Josh Allen and the Bills.
I don't want the upset. I need the win. I need Buffalo to win. For multiple reasons. But yeah, I like Buffalo. I don't think the Titans defense can stop them. I do, however, think the Bills defense can stop Derrick Henry. They've only allowed one rushing touchdown all season. And I'm knocking on my wood right now because I said that, but I just think they have pretty good linebackers. Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds, very solid duo in the middle there. And they've been getting some good play off the defensive line. Starlo Tulele and Greg Rousseau, the rest of the guys there. And I mean, AJ Brown's active, so they're going to have Julio and AJ. I don't think it's going to matter with how well Tre'Davious White, Teron Johnson, the safeties, Micah Hyde. I mean, all of the secondary is playing great right now. So over under is 54. I like the under. I don't think Tennessee's going to score enough. 8:15 ESPN coming up in a couple minutes. All right, Thursday night, Broncos at the Browns. I'm going off the reservation again, dude. Are the Browns still a 5-point? Let me see before my phone dies. Because they are not. Wow. 3.5 it is now. Down 1.5 because of the Kareem Hunt news, I believe. I am so excited that I got Broncos at +4. You know, it's only 0.5 point, but it's 0.5 point that I wouldn't have the opportunity to get now at market price. I wish I would have been able to get 5, but only got +4. That's fine. And yeah, I know Kareem Hunt, possibly no Nick Chubb as well. That leaves Dearness Johnson as the starter. Demetric Felton to chip in as well. I don't know how Baker Mayfield can even play in this game, considering he was in a sling in his post-game press conference in Cleveland. So, yeah, I have no idea how the Browns can offensively win this game against the quality defense in the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I don't know. I just went with the Browns. I mean, I know they have all these injuries, whatever. But no matter who the quarterback is, I'm hoping that Nick Chubb is back and they can still lean on Nick Chubb and run the ball and win the game that way. Obviously, their defense hasn't really been all that great so far this season. We saw it yesterday. They let up, 37 against Arizona. And then the week before in that shootout against the Chargers. And yeah, so they haven't had the best defense right now, but the Broncos don't have the best offense anyway. So yeah, I think that the Browns can win it on defense. And I think that's what I'm banking on happening on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think the strategy for the Broncos is to do exactly what the Chargers and the Cardinals did to the Browns. You have to throw on them. It's gonna be tough to run on the Browns front seven. Might be a little bit easier now though. JOK is out, so might be a little bit of a void at the linebacker position. I still think the defensive line's good enough to stop the run. So I think it's going to be on the shoulders of Teddy Bridgewater throwing to his targets, Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and the like. Jerry Jeudy possibly back for this game might make an impact. So, yeah, I like Denver. And at some point I got to get a game on y'all. So I feel like this is a great opportunity with the injuries in Cleveland.
Mhm.
All right, next Monday we'll be back breaking down all the games from this college and NFL slate. Got bye weeks coming up, Chris. We got 6 teams on a bye this weekend coming up. So a lot of maneuvering in fantasy. Got to make some trades to fill some holes on the roster. Get some key waiver wire selections in tomorrow. Yeah, we got Monday night matchup between the Saints and Seahawks at Lumen Field in Seattle. And we have the Thursday night matchup, Packers and Cardinals in Phoenix. So that will
That'll
be
be a good one.
NFL week 7 or week 8. I mean, start of week 8, end of week 7. But that is the show for today. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. And FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out there. Check us out here on YouTube and on Facebook, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Thank you, Chris. Happy birthday, Mark. And
Yes,
we'll
happy birthday, Mark.
see you